Pascal. We be going wild. Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you all are having a wonderful, terrific, fantastic, I know it's not a T word, but fantastic Tuesday. It is Tuesday, y'all. There's a reason to be happy. There's a reason to be up in the morning doing something positive with your life, because life is just too damn beautiful. Let me just say that real quick, because we got some serious stuff that we're talking about, and there's some really sad things that we're talking about today, some heavy things. Man, we got an action-packed show for you guys today. There's so much going on today. We got so many people that are going to be coming through, gracing us with their incredible presence, and I'm very excited about it. So, long story short, as we already know, AstroWorld has become basically the concert from hell. They have literally called it the concert from hell, all right? People went there thinking that they were going to have the time of their lives. Instead, they were fighting for their lives. And I got to be honest, my heart goes out to every single last one of the people that survived, and for those who lost loved ones. We have a crazy story that we will be talking about at the tail end of this show today about a now 9-year-old by the name of Ezra Blount. He's in a coma because he went to that festival. He was trampled on. He is now suffering from brain damage, y'all. This is a crazy, crazy story. This is a crazy time, y'all. A crazy, crazy time. So, of course, we got to get into all the stuff. We got to talk about all the things that need to be done, which is, we got to get into it. So, please, hit that like button down below. Do not forget to hit that like button down below. And of course, as always, do not forget to crush that subscribe button. For those of y'all who are all starting to file in, send those likes all the way up, all the way up. Send as much positivity as you can, because we got some things to talk about today. And I got some special people coming on, people who are very well-rounded in certain realms, that are going to be on with me today. I also do have a survivor, like I said, coming on to talk about their firsthand experience. Like I said, action-packed show. Action-packed show. All right. Anyway, we got to jump into the stories, y'all. You know what I mean? We got to get into the news. Now, and I'm sorry for jumping so abruptly into it, but you know how it is. I mean, when you got a tight schedule and you got people only on for a little bit of time, you got to jump into some things. So, before we go into the stories, I have to invite my brother on. He has a YouTube channel called Pocket Watching with JT. Please welcome my brother JT to the show. What up, man?
Yes, sir. Good morning, man. I'm doing great, man. It's been a minute, man. I've been trying to get on your show for a minute now, but here we go.
Yeah, man. You know what? The funny thing is I'm sitting there going, man, I'm trying to find the right time to bring you on. You feel me? When it's the right time to get you onto the show, it's got to make sense, obviously. Right. And this one, let me tell you, this one makes a whole lot of sense. And the reason why I say this is because, we got to get into these stories really quick. Obviously, there have been multiple stories out here talking about how Travis Scott, AstroWorld, and all of them, even Drake is getting sued. Yeah, they're all dealing with a whole bunch of lawsuits. But before let me get into that first. Okay, let me show you guys this first. All right, this is an article from the Daily Mail, and this is from a family right now. Okay. A bunch of people are feeling this type of way, understandably. I'm just going to read some of the bullets here. All right. So the title says Travis is going to have to do a hell of a lot more than post a Notes app apology. Relatives of AstroWorld Fest victims vent their fury at Travis Scott for not providing the right security. Right now, Obviously, as we already know, 8 people have died that we know so far, have died on Friday at the Travis Scott Music Festival in Houston, Texas, with the victims ranging from 14 to 27. 14 years old, y'all. Okay, a freshman in high school. All right. Now, of course, there have been a lot of people who've been coming out talking about the lack of security, lack of the medical staff actually being able to know how to even check somebody's pulse. I mean, this has been going on and on and on and on. Now, there, of course, has been several now lawsuits that have been filed against Travis Scott and the organizers and the promoters of AstroWorld. If I'm not correct, if of course, correct me if I'm wrong, Live Nation as well, right? But now Scott has promised to pay funeral expenses, but many felt that his offer rang hollow and it was a little, too late. Now, real quick before I throw it over to JT, my man right here, who's the brilliant financial advisor right here. By the way, please go to his YouTube channel, check it out. Trust me, you'll thank me later. All right. I do want to pull this up as well. Mm-hmm. There is another piece that he did say here as well. And this is just another title real quick. Now, Travis Scott says he wants to refund all AstroWorld attendees. He's going to refund every single last one of y'all that attended the show. However many hundreds of dollars that you spent, you getting all that money back. Okay. Now, I see what he's doing, right? And I don't blame him for doing what he needs to do, which is showing up, saying, hey, we done mucked up. This is how we can, at least take a step towards some sort of redemption. I don't need this money because now it's blood money, if you really think about it. And so, hey, I'm going to give you the money back. But he's also dealing with a whole lot of lawsuits. So the reason why I got Pocket Watch It with JT on the show today is because I want to know, is this man about to be broke or no?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Great question. And there's different levels to this question that we have to take a look at and answer. When it comes to liability, financial liability in situations like this is going to have to come down to being determined in a court. But in my experience, when I am advising clients in this type of situation, obviously what we're going to try to do is build different levels of liability, like different structures, so that it's harder and harder for someone, if they were to sue my client, it's going to be extremely hard for them to actually get to my client. So the question is, number one, who is actually financially liable for these deaths? That's going to have to be determined by a court. But if you say, okay, Travis Scott, clearly it's his concert, he's performing on stage, that's not necessarily going to be the case, because in situations like this, you're gonna have to ask, okay, well, who is Travis Scott in this situation? Is he a hired performer for this tour? And it's weird, but people don't understand that when you create different legal entities, even though you own it, technically, it's not you. So here's an example. What if you own some stock in Disney, right? Mm-hmm. You own some stock in Disney, and for some reason, someone gets hurt on one of the rides or the attractions at Disney World, and Disney is sued. You personally, as the stock owner, you're not going to be liable to pay for whatever lawsuit that would result from that accident, right? Now, your value in the stock may go down, but the lawyers can't go after you. So in this situation, if I had to bet any money, if Travis Scott has half as good attorneys and lawyers that I think he should, then he's probably not going to be ultimately found liable, in the sense that he's going to end up broke. And here's why, real quick. Here's why. It's going to be because his net worth is around $60 million. And I can bet money that all of that $60 million is not placed in one pot. It's probably going to be split up in various trusts, in various companies, in various limited family partnerships. So even if he's found liable legally in a court of law, even if they win the lawsuit, the question is going to be, well, who did they win the lawsuit against? And it's most likely going to be against an entity that is not going to leave him broke.
That's actually really, really smart, because isn't that how it usually goes down when it comes to business anyway?
Yeah.
You build a business so that it separates you from the actual business, right? If you are the business, right? You build that business, or you create an LLC so that if you do get sued, you at least have that business as a shield to stop you from getting sued, correct?
Right. So what happens is in the LLC, so it's a limited liability company. Some people refer to it as a limited liability corporation, but that's the C is not corporation. The C is company. And it's just that. It's an entity that's formed on the state level that separates legal liability between the ownership of the entity and the entity itself, right? So it's totally different in civil litigation. So let's say, for example, I have an LLC. This LLC is sued for $1 million, and we lose a lawsuit. Now, if the LLC only has a couple $100,000 worth of assets, it's going to file for bankruptcy. It's going to be liquidated. But me as the owner, even if I have $1 billion, they will not be able to come after me, the individual, because my liability between myself as an individual and the company are completely separate. In the eyes of the court, we're two different entities, and you can't come after me for something that the entity is responsible for.
Interesting. So, in other words, he's safe as a mug.
Personally, from what I've seen, he's not going to be broke. I can tell you that much. If I had to put money on it, he's not going to be broke. Right now, from the actions that I'm seeing, most of this is based on PR, public relations. He's giving back this money for the concert tickets and everything based on public relations. Because honestly, if he has the attorneys and the accountants that I think he does, they would have checked before he said that he's going to give these refunds. They're going to check and make sure that this doesn't seem as if it's some kind of admission of guilt legally, right? Before he pressed send, which I doubt is him pressing send on his social media at this point. At this point, it should be his team, his PR director, his attorneys, who are going to approve any public statements in this situation. And before that public statement went out that they're going to be issuing refunds, the lawyers are going to double check and make sure, does this make us look as if we are admitting guilt? And if it does, they would not have approved that post to go out. There's just no way.
Fascinating. Yeah. Fascinating. I mean, obviously, even his little black and white French film, I'm sorry video. He did press send on that one. Let's just be real on that. But maybe he learned his lesson after that piece. It's like, no. Put it down. Let the PR get in front of it and all that. So, okay. Yeah. So then let's talk about these lawsuits that are happening, right? They're starting to file out. And a lot of them, obviously, they're going after his pockets.
Yes.
All right. And so my thing is obviously, yes, he's going to be safe, as from what you said, right? He's going to be safe because obviously if he's smart and if he's got Kylie Jenner's team behind him, right? She's a billionaire. She has a smart team around him, right? Around her, right? So obviously he is probably getting some, advice, some consulting. That's the word I was looking for. Probably getting consulting from some of her teammates as well, right? Yeah. But when it comes to this, is there any way that any person that went to this concert could financially go after his personal money? Not his business, not his business money, but his actual personal pocket.
They can attempt.
Remember, That's 50,000. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
50,000 plus people.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of people that have either broken ankles, broken toes, etc. I mean, obviously, near death experiences to actual death. There are a lot of people out here, right, that are feeling some type of way. 50,000 people. I'm not sitting here saying that all 50,000 are going to be going after the jugular, right? But there's going to be a good portion of them that are going to sit there and say, I was scared for my life. Let's scoop a bag. I hate to say it like that, and as callous as it is, but we live in this time where, you can scoop a bag real easy, right? So when you see this, when you have this happen, there's no way.
No, they can absolutely make the attempt, right? It's going to come down to the attorney who's going to be representing them. It's easy to list a certain person in a lawsuit, right? As we've seen, they even listed Drake in the lawsuit. So you can list someone on the lawsuit. But the question is really going to be, okay, are you going to be successful in actually bringing them into the lawsuit? And then the court of law is going to say that they're responsible. There's different situations where they had insurance, right? A venue like this, an event like this is going to also have insurance. So there's going to be payouts just based purely on the fact that an event of this magnitude had insurance for situations like this. So there's probably going to be a payout due to insurance, and there may even be payouts due to a settlement. Someone on Drake's team or someone Live Nation team or Travis Scott team will just say, okay, let's just settle this out of court and we'll have a fixed dollar amount, even though ultimately I'm probably not going to be found financially liable in a personal sense. The bad PR, all of the news coverage that they're getting, it's easier, and the legal expense, because it still costs money to defend yourself in a lawsuit that ultimately comes to your favor. It just makes more sense to go ahead and settle. So you may see a lot of people get drugged into the court filings, but most of these things are probably not even going to see a courtroom. They're either going to be settled out of court. Insurance is going to take care of a lot of these things. So will it ultimately affect a Drake, a Live Nation, a Travis Scott in the way that they're just completely broken? They have them. No, it's just not going to happen, because even when you have a event like a tour, a Live Nation is going to create a temporary entity just for that tour, right? They're going to create a LLC for that tour, and they'll even create an LLC just for that one particular tour date. So when you see them coming to St. Louis or going to Houston, there's an LLC that they may create that has a 90-day lifespan just to cover what happens during that particular tour date. So if you were to sue someone, ultimately you're suing an entity that only existed for 90 days, that maybe has a couple $100,000, or depending on the scale of the event, maybe let's even say a couple $1 million worth of assets in that LLC. Well, that's extremely limited to what you can get paid out for a lawsuit.
Interesting. You're dropping gems, and I appreciate you dropping these gems. And y'all, if you're appreciating these gems, I see over 450 souls watching on all platforms right now. So do me this small favor. Hit that like button down below, y'all. Send those likes past 200 likes. I mean, that's the easiest thing. Just boop. That doesn't even burn a calorie. All right. So just do that.
The easiest thing.
Okay. The easiest thing in the world. Okay. And don't forget to crush that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Okay. Welcome to the Pascal Show. But let's continue here. Now, when you say, let's talk about Drake. Let's talk about Drake.
Right.
Real quick. I know you're not a lawyer. I know you're not.
Right.
And hopefully I will be getting an Esquire on the show to Esquire his thoughts, or their thoughts, on this whole situation. But why is Drake being lumped into this financial kerfuffle? Oh my Lord. I need to put that down. That's to be financial kerfuffle. Right. Why Drake? Why is Drake getting thrown in here? There are plenty of other people that were performing on that
Right.
stage. Shoot, I'm not trying to throw SZA under the bus or anything,
Right.
but SZA performed right before all this stuff. I mean, why isn't everybody, every single artist being lumped into this mess?
Because they're going to want and they target the deepest pockets. Out of all of those people who are probably on that stage, Drake probably has the deepest pockets. Now, not to say that later on that these other performers and other artists won't be included in some sort of lawsuit later down the road, but you're going to target the deepest pockets. So when I counsel a client and we're dealing with situations like this, I tell them, like, listen, you are going to be a target of lawsuits. We have to make sure that we structure your wealth plan to protect you from lawsuits like this. So the question is going to be, okay, who was Drake in that moment? Right? The regular world is like Drake is Drake all the time. No. Drake, when he's on that stage, can be a completely different entity than Drake when he's at his home. Right. So even if you were able to attach Drake for the moment that he was on that stage, the question's still going to be, okay, who are you really suing? Are you suing Drake, the artist who performed at that one event for that time? Because for him to get on that stage, even though I know that they're probably friends, contracts were involved, right? Before he stepped on that stage, I'm sure they contracted with Drake's team to be able to have him cleared to come on that stage and perform during that concert. So the question is, who was contracted? I'm pretty sure it wasn't Drake, the individual. It was probably a business entity that was contracted to perform during that concert. So once again, you're very limited to who you can sue, because you can't sue the individual Drake if the individual Drake wasn't a part of the contract to perform at that concert.
That's a good point, because at the end of the day, even though, I mean, it is a persona, right? It is a business.
Yes.
So as you go out there, you get off the stage, you could be John, but when you get on the stage, you could be McDonald's, right?
Yes.
And perform. So as McDonald's, as a business entity, you are safe. So no matter what you do, it's like, no, you're trying to sue the entity of McDonald's, not John, who just is chilling eating Haagen-Dazs at home right now.
Right, and those contracts those contracts are pretty long. They're going to also, that contract to perform at a concert like that is also going to outline who's responsible for security. It's not going to be the performer on stage.
Yeah.
Right. Within that contract, I'm pretty sure that they're going to protect themselves within that contract that says, hey, if something were to happen dealing with security, my client or this artist is not going to be responsible for what happens, because they have nothing to do with security. Maybe his personal security, but not the security of all the people who came to the concert. So the reason why Drake's name is on there is because there's deep pockets, and maybe they can get him to simply throw some money at the thing just to get it settled, not to deal with it, because it may be cheaper than for him to actually hire attorneys and have this long drawn out court proceeding. But it's just the target pockets, honestly, that I doubt that he's ever going to be found legally, financially responsible for what happened.
Gotcha. So then tell me this then. How can one successfully secure that bag then? Because here it is.
Right.
You got a lot of people out here that are going to, that there was only one lawsuit as of yesterday. Now there's a multitude coming out, right? There's a tidal wave of stuff. Once the dam breaks, it just whoosh, right? Turns into a tidal wave of lawsuits, and they're still going to keep coming. I think he's going to be dealing with this for years to come, probably, right? So how does one on the other side, okay, as a concert goer, say broken ankle or say passed out within an inch of his life, crushed, his or her life crushed, how can one successfully secure that bag?
Well, I mean, I think they're already kind of getting towards that. They are doing a lawsuit against multiple entities, trying to find out, okay, who was ultimately responsible. From what I read, the local authorities in the area are also pursuing criminal investigations to see who was ultimately liable. If it comes down to being a security team, a security company that did not do their job, they did not fulfill the obligations of the contract, because in situations like this, very few people are going to be considered employees in transactions like this. When you have a tour come in, a lot of these people are going to be considered independent contractors. So if I'm a concert promoter and I hire what seems to be a qualified security team, like not just hiring a bunch of college kids to come on with neon shirts on, right? That would be something that would be negligent on my part. Right? If I just hire a bunch of kids with no experience. But if I hire a professional company and I do my due diligence and make sure that they're licensed to provide this service, and then they drop the ball,
right?
Well, then I kind of covered my base. But in situations like this, like I said before, there's insurances that are going to cover this. So if the insurance policy, let's say there's an insurance policy up to like $10 million for situations like this, the insurance is going to cover it all the way up to the $10 million. Then if there's still liability beyond what the insurance covers, then whoever who is found liable has to pay and make the difference. And if they can't, then whatever entity that was responsible is probably just going to file for bankruptcy and liquidate whatever company it is that was responsible. And it's done. After that entity is filed for bankruptcy and all the assets are liquidated and paid out to whoever has a claim against that company, it's kind of done. So even just winning a lawsuit is just one step, right? First, you got to file a lawsuit. Then you go through court. Then you win the lawsuit. But even winning the lawsuit is not a guarantee that you're going to get paid.
Gotcha. Well, okay. And that's fair. That's fair to say, but let's just say they have a threshold of $10 million. Okay. Let's just say 50,000 people though.
Right.
50,000 people. So there's thousands of people that are going to sue. Thousands. He's going to be looking at, or his business, right? And the Live Nation and any of the other entities that were involved with this festival are going to be looking at lawsuits, right? So let's just say, let's just keep it small, right? AstroWorld Fest or whatever the entity is has a threshold insurance-wise for $10 million. Bruh, somebody just sued him for $1 million. That's one individual. Now, remember, there's several hundred people that are in hospitals right now. One boy, 9-year-old boy, Ezra Blount, is fighting for his life right now. He is in a coma. You know what is the price of a life, right? So you look. No, I hate to say.
No. I agree. I agree.
You think that this kid who comes out brain damaged? By the way, he has brain damage because he was trampled on. This young 9-year-old boy at this concert, thinking that he's going to have the time of his life, see his hero on a stage, and now he is in a coma right now, fighting for his life. You don't think that the parents are going to try to sit there and justifiably ask for millions of dollars? So if there is a threshold, and that is one person out of thousands, bruh, that's a whole lot of quiche.
No, now what you said is extremely key, right? So when I took business law in college, that is going to be one of the questions that you're going to get in business law. What is the price or the value of a life? And while in the regular world, you're going to say a life is priceless. Like you can't put a dollar value to a life, but it happens all the time. It happens probably every day in a courtroom somewhere in the world. A life is given a certain dollar value. And in these situations, that's ultimately what's going to happen. For those who lost their lives, or the estate, the family of someone who lost their life in this event, there is a dollar value that's going to be put on that situation, and they're going to be paid out accordingly from whatever life insurance policy or whatever settlement that they're going to be able to get. Now, what could happen, which I doubt, but what could happen if you're in a situation like this, how can you, what we refer to as pierce the corporate veil? How can you break through the wall of the company ultimately to the individual? The only real ways that you can pierce the corporate veil is due to sloppiness of the defendant, sloppiness of the client. So what normally happens in those situations is when you have a company that is supposed to be separate from yourself and liability, but you have financial transactions that don't seem different, right? So let's say I have a company, right? And it's an LLC, but I lose a lawsuit. And they want to check and see, is there any way that they can actually come after me, the individual? What would probably happen is the attorney of the person who sued me and won is going to subpoena or request all my financial records personally and for the business. And they're going to look for certain transactions. They're going to see, well, was he paying his personal mortgage for his home out of the business? Was he paying for his personal car out of the business? Or is there a commingling of funds between this corporation or LLC that's supposed to be separate, but is paying for my personal lifestyle? If that's the case, then you can pierce the corporate veil and you can break down that wall and you can go to a judge and say, even though on paper, this company and this individual are two different things, in actual fact, they're one and the same. But honestly, with the attorneys and the accountants that people on this type of wealth level have, there's no way that they would allow that type of sloppiness. It's just, it's not going to happen.
Well, you know, the only thing is that if I also do think that, in my personal opinion, if they're able to prove without a shadow of a doubt that other entities like security or the medical staff weren't really medical in, you know what I mean?
Right.
Physicians weren't physicianing, right? Or any of that were lackluster. They can, I mean, any civilian, any concert goer could literally secure a bag, could sue the hell out of the festival, any of the entities that were, any of the companies, the security, medical, all those things, without a shadow of a doubt, because there's countless stories that are out here saying this right now. Real quick before I let you go, thank you so much for blessing us with your time. Real talk. But question for you, and it's on a personal level, right? If you were Travis Scott, because I saw this question being asked a bunch of times in the chat, so I got to ask you really quick. If you were Travis Scott during this moment, during this time right now, what would you be doing right now?
Man, honestly, it sounds somewhat cold, but I would be following the instructions of my legal and accounting team. While I know on a personal level, he wants to reach out to his fans and reach out to the world and apologize for what happened. Man, you just can't put yourself, because you work your whole life to build a brand, to build a personal wealth. And the wrong word, the wrong tweet, the wrong Instagram post can really place everything in jeopardy. So even though the human side of us would want to say, okay, reach out to the family, apologize for what happened, that's not what his legal team is going to tell him what to do. And there's a reason why they pay for accountants and financial advisors, so that we can guide them in the best way to protect them even from themselves.
You know what? Pocket Watcher with JT, my brother JT, thank you so much for being on.
Oh, man, thank you for the invite.
Tell everybody to go and crush your subscribe button. Just tell them.
Hey, please, guys, when you get time, after you leave this, after this show is over, because we got to make sure we hit the like button here and we make sure we subscribe here. When you get time, come check out Pocket Watching with JT, Real Accountant Reacts. On my channel, I take a look at a bunch of different fake gurus online. The whole goal of my channel is to help you think like an accountant. I react to different finance and business related issues online to help people understand how money actually works.
Actually, he just likes to expose that ass. JT, I appreciate you, my brother.
Yes,
my brother, TL,
thank you.
all day. I appreciate you, my brother. I'll be talking to you soon, all right?
Absolutely.
Peace. Man, by all means, please go and check out Pocket Watching with JT. The man is very well informed. And yes, he does expose that ass. I'm not going to lie. Some of these gurus out here, you want to know. You just want to know who you are listening to, if they're legit or not. And he talks about a bunch of other things as well, just to keep your financial game on point. All right. But we got to jump into our next conversation here. But before we do, please, guys, I see about almost 800 lives, 800 souls watching the show right now, and I really do appreciate it. So please crush that subscribe button, hit that like button down below. Let's see that go past 400 likes. That would really mean a lot, especially for my next guest that I have here. Now, we have heard so many different, I've seen at least, so many different TikToks, so many different posts on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, even, you name it. So many different people have talked about their experience, their firsthand experience at the concert, dealing with fighting for their lives and seeing the lives that were taken at this horrendous festival. And like I said before, people are calling this the concert from hell. I can't even imagine what people were going through. But to talk about her firsthand experience with everything that happened, please welcome Liliana Lopez to the show. Hello, Liliana. How you doing?
Guys.
How you feeling?
Okay.
No, I know that there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say this first off. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on to this show and speak your story and speak about what happened in your own perspective, because this is some scary, terrifying stuff. And I'm so thankful that you made it through, right? But I of course, we got to jump into it, right? First off, can I ask you, if it's not too much to ask, how old are you?
I am 19.
You were 19?
Mm-hmm.
You are 19. Now, from my understanding, you've gone to, this is not your first AstroWorld festival, correct?
Yeah, it is not. I've been to one before.
Okay. And let's talk about that a little bit, okay? Now, what was that experience like, the first one?
So I had went the previous year in 2019, and that was my first concert ever. I had been warned from my family that it was pretty rough, and I wasn't actually prepared for it. Actually, because I think the first time I witnessed it was when Playboy Cardi had performed, and those people get rough. And I think I was pretty much prepared when I came this year.
So, okay, so you knew that this was going to be kind of a rager, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are going to be hopping around. People are going to get lit and try to have a great time, right?
Yes.
Or have have their own version of a good time.
Yeah.
So at that previous event, were you ever scared? Was there ever a vibe?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I personally had my personal scary experience in that year also. During Cardi, I actually fell into a mosh pit. I was pretty scared because these guys just do not look on the floor. They're kind of just jumping, and thankfully some guy picked me up and was like, "Get up, get up, get up. Like you're going to get trampled on, get up." And I was about to cry, but I was like, "No, let me stick it out. Like, it's not that bad. I didn't get crushed. Let me just stick it out." And then the second time around was during Travis's performance, where I fell down like a domino effect, kind of like moving with the crowd, and we all fell. And thankfully I had my family that were taller than me, obviously, and picked me up from that.
Right.
So.
And that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And that experience was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I'm gonna stay in this area of 2 years ago really quick before we go into what happened last Friday. So when you say, it was a kind of a crazy, kind of like a wave of just bodies moving back and forth. You fell over. Thank God you had your family with you to pick you back up with the quickness.
Yes.
Now, what was the vibe that Travis Scott was giving out to everybody? Was he trying to give off chaos, or was he actually trying to control the crowd?
Honestly, at that year, I was so focused on the performance that around me, I wasn't really seeing as much as chaotic that I seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I felt like people were more cautious around that time to pick people up, and people were more about helping one another around that time. That's crazy to see that people were not like that this year.
Interesting. So is it all right if we walk over to the what happened on Friday?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So first off, I did see a bunch of your TikToks,
Yeah.
and I do appreciate you putting in your 2 cents and
Yeah.
showing your truth and showing your perspective of everything. It looked terrifying. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it was.
It looked like if nothing happened, nothing bad happened, if everyone came out alive, I'm sure everyone would have said this was the time of their lives, right?
Yes, personally, I agree. I don't like to say I'm a hypocrite saying, oh, that whole experience was bad. At first,
Right.
it was cool. I was pretty crushed already from the first song he came in, but I was trying to stick it through. I was like, come on, it's a Travis Scott concert, this is what you come for, to have fun. But man, you just couldn't breathe. That's one thing, and I had to get out of there.
Have mercy. Have mercy. Okay. So okay. Because there's a lot to unfold
Yeah,
here,
of
right?
course.
So in the very beginning, right? You went
Mhm.
to obviously you went into the festival.
Yes.
You had a ticket. You're not one of the people that rushed the gate, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So you were a regular person doing the right
Yes.
thing by buying a ticket like you
Yes.
did 2 years ago. Okay.
Yes.
Now, so you went through the gate, you got in.
Mhm.
How long were you out there for? You know what I mean? When did you get
Honestly, from the beginning to the end, me and my family were walking in. Um, I didn't even know at the time that we had to provide a paper copy or a paper copy of your vaccinations. I didn't even know in that until the day of the concert. So I got that
Mhm.
done. Brought that paper. My family did also. We were coming in. They literally didn't even check the paper. Honestly, the security did not even check the paper properly. They were just like, paper, okay, go. Wristband of the green thing that says you're COVID free, go. Let us win. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy that they didn't even like. Literally, my family was talking about it for a minute or two, saying like, wow, that's crazy that they just glanced at it and they told us to go. Because that could have been a fake paper.
Wow.
That could have been people could have had positive effects, and they were just like, okay, go have fun.
Wait, so security didn't even really give a didn't
No,
even give a damn.
they didn't care.
Wow. So you walked up, you kind of showed it, and
Yeah,
they were like kind of like just come on, let's
yeah,
go.
they glanced and they're like, okay, keep on going, next
How packed
person.
how packed was the line like when you were there?
The line around the time people had started coming around 12 or earlier than that. I even heard people were there till the morning of 1 a.m. That's crazy. But I honestly didn't get there until around 3 p.m. So I wasn't there when the madness of the people breaking in the fences.
So
I wasn't there for that.
yeah, okay, so you weren't there for that, and that happened a little bit earlier on, correct?
Yes.
That happened earlier on. So did you hear anything about that?
I
Did you hear
heard, and
anything
I
about the bum
and I
rush?
personally have seen in my own eyes when we walked in that people were still trying to sneak in, and the cops were trying to still get people that were trying to sneak in. But of
Mhm.
course, you know, they moshed in. They kind of just they took the risk to go in that concert. So
So okay, so that happened earlier in the day, right? Or that
mhm.
happened a few hours before you got there. If that happened, why was there like I feel like if it was knocked down, you would think that security would have been much tighter, right?
Yes, that's personally what I had thought because I had already seen the videos of people already breaking in, but there were still fans still risking their lives to go in that concert. Around that time that I came, people were still trying to sneak in. So
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So people are still trying to break in or sneak in
mm,
even after you were going in, right?
yeah,
Okay, so you got in there around 3 p.m.
yeah,
Obviously music was doing the performances were happening at that point, right?
yes,
Let's click and drag over to the performance, the opening act or
yes,
before obviously Travis Scott went on the stage. SZA was performing right before Travis Scott, correct? So
yes.
What was the vibe at that time? Because
The
she's
vibe was totally different. I actually loved her whole performance. She put on a great show.
okay.
Like, awesome to her. But from that performance to Travis Scott, totally different energy. You could feel it. It was totally different.
So, okay, when you say that, can you describe? Do you mind
So,
elaborating on the
yeah.
vibe? What was the energy in the room? Because you said SZA was up there. It was a really great performance. It's SZA, so I'm not surprised. But at the same time, you said that there was a change, like the temperature changed or something like that. So,
Yes.
can you
So,
describe what the vibe was in the crowd?
yes, of course. So during SZA's very positive, very loving. She took care of her fans.
Mm,
It was a pretty good performance. You felt the energy of other people just wanting to record. You could hear people crying because some parts of that SZA songs, just got to start crying. She was definitely making us feel some type of way with her music. And then shifting back to Travis Scott and moving over there, um, he had tempo music to the point where you're pumping up. He's trying to pump you up. I think that tempo music was definitely like making my heart rise. I was like, what's up with this music? I never heard it before. He's never played any type of background music to start up a performance, but it was pretty much like techno music, kind of just like boom, 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 boom. And you're kind of just
right.
like, it's raising you up to get pumped up. And I was just like, dang, like this music kind of needs to stop because it's like I'm gonna run out of breath.
Right, right. No, I understand that. He was trying to get everybody hype, right?
Yes.
That hype music was happening, and I know that there was a countdown before he went on stage.
Yes.
So that was a whole thing. I'm sure everybody was
Yeah.
getting their drink on, or getting the smoke on, or
Yes.
just trying to get prepared for when he comes out, and
Yeah.
then when the big drop happens, everyone goes
Yes.
wild, right?
Mhm.
So when he comes out, right? You said I understand what you're saying about the energy. Obviously, everybody was on pins and needles. It's been 2 years since you guys have had, or since there was another, since the last AstroWorld festival. So I can understand people just really hype about just finally being free, right?
Yes.
So he goes out, beat drops. What happens there?
So he performed Escape Plan first, which was a song he had just released 2 days before, I believe. He performed that. That was his first song. Everything was fine, but I think towards the second song, um, you kind of just feel a bunch of people from the back pushing up, and you just feel all the pressure. And luckily, I was with my family members at that time. They're taller than me, so compared to me to them, I was glad they were kind of like my shield at that point of time. Because if anything, if I hadn't had lost them, I'm gonna be bluntly honest, I think I would have had a good time. But then again, I don't think I would have because I really couldn't breathe. But they were my shield for a good 2 to 3 songs in, and everything was fine. I was recording. I felt the pressure a lot. I couldn't breathe, especially with the pillars of the fire that he had for his prop. You felt that fire. If it literally felt like you were in hell. That fire killed me, and I couldn't breathe. I knew I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to still stick it out, and I was just like, "Nah, it's Travis Scott. Come on, like I got this,"
Yeah.
you know. And we had already heard from before because one of my cousin's friends was personal friends of the people that were close to Dawn Tolliver and all them. And he had already informed us, oh, Drake is here. So come on, we got to stick it out. And I was like, oh my God, Drake, like that's crazy. So I was trying to stick it out to the very end, but luckily I made it out right on time.
Right.
Um, After the third song in, I think it was the highest in the room, I believe. I'm not too sure. I can't even remember. I just remember highest in the room was the time I stopped recording and I had to get out of there. But highest in the room was definitely the song that just made it super chaotic to me, at least around that time and where I was at that point.
Hmm.
Which, if anybody has seen the live stream or if anybody was there personally, the stage is like this and he's looking directly this way. So I was on this side on the left if you're looking straight. towards the front in the middle. So it was pretty chaotic. Towards the highest in the room, I had lost my family. I started panicking a little bit.
So when you say you lost your family, explain that a little bit.
So I was holding to dear life of one of my family members. And I was like, I'm not going to let go, because if I let go, I'm going to get lost. And around that time too, people were already still trying to get to the back to leave. And I never in my life had never seen aggressive males being like, no, do not let them out. Like, we're already here, stick it out. And I'm just like, these people need to get through. And one of my videos, you could hear a guy saying, clear the way, trying to get people out.
Right.
And I was one of those people to be like, let them through, because these people were really, really greedy. And that's why I take full accountability of fans being a part of the reason why some of these people just didn't make it out.
Now,
And
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please
no,
continue.
you're fine. What were you gonna say?
No, when you say, okay, so when did the squeeze? I hate to say it like that, but when did the squeeze actually start happening? Right when he came out on stage?
Yes,
Or was
that
this like
squeeze.
at a specific? Was it at a specific song? When did this squeeze start happening?
That squeeze was
different story.
there. Yeah, that squeeze was there from the beginning. I just chose to ignore it at that point in time because I was trying to stick it out, like I said, but it was there from the beginning.
How uncomfortable was it? Because I mean,
It was uncomfortable
you
to
were a part of the squeeze. So I'm
yes,
just trying to understand, like, you were
how
in
bad
there.
it was.
How
Yeah,
bad was it?
so
Because if you were willing to stick it out, as you say,
mhm.
it doesn't sound like it was as bad in the area that you were in, right?
Yes, I think around the area I was in, it wasn't as bad until a specific song hit. I know that squeeze was there from the first time he had performed, but it wasn't to a point that I was crunched up at that point. I
Mm,
was pretty crunched and I had to record like this, but it wasn't to a point where I had to put my phone up towards, I think it was butterfly effect, is where I put my phone up and I just couldn't move.
gotcha. Once your arm was up, you couldn't put it back down, right?
Yes.
So you got pushed away. You got separated from your family. How well, before we get into that, did you
Yeah.
see any people passing out? Did you see any people screaming? What was your perspective?
Yes, I've seen multiple girls actually with their boyfriends or their friends, whoever they were with. I saw panic in their eyes around the time of Highest in the Room was ending. Girls were kind of like panicked and screaming and crying. And I was just like, I understood that feeling from the year before because I had almost started crying. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and be like, oh my God, why are they crying? Because I almost cried the year before because I fell in the mosh pit. So
Mhm.
it was pretty scary. And I was just thinking in my head, maybe it's their first concert, they're just now dealing with this, just let them through. That's better than nothing. Um, it was pretty scary not being able to breathe at that time because those people coming to the back were the people that were in the front, the very front.
Yeah.
So it was pretty bad.
So did you happen to see any people on the ground? Were there any people
Thankfully,
passed out? Any of those kind of things?
thankfully, I was not able to see any person pass out or collapse on the floor or anything. Thankfully, I think I would have been very, very if anything, traumatized if I would have saw that because I'm very sensitive to that type of nature. But in my cousin's perspective, when we got separated, she saw that, and
Gotcha.
she was pretty spooked out.
In your personal opinion, how was security and how was medical staff?
Security was kind of lazy, kind of slouchy. They didn't really try as much. Coming from my cousin, she kind of just said they got her out of the barricades, and they kind of just like get out, go to the back. Like they just didn't care. Like they so much, but they just didn't have enough for the many people that were there. And that's
Mm.
just one thing to blame, that they didn't have proper security for the many people that attended the show. and that's one thing they messed up on, I
Yeah,
think.
I was gonna say, I mean, the amount of people that were there and the amount of security and medical staff that was actually there just seemed like they were heavily understaffed, right? So
Yes.
did you see any medical staff performing CPR or anything of that sort when you left?
I had seen that, yes, when I had left. When I had got out of the crowd, thankfully, I didn't even look back. I really didn't. I just felt really off. That energy was really scary. I just continued to the front and I saw lots of girls limping, crying, going to, the sheriff's. There was like a little station of they were going towards there, crying, I've seen some people trying to catch air and some people were helping them.
Yeah, it looks like I lost her. Liliana? Oh no. Looks like I lost her, guys. Hopefully she hops back on. Oh man. Well, her internet looks like her internet went out or something like that. But for those of y'all who are watching right now, hopefully she hops back on here in a second. Please do me the small favor while we're here, while we're at it, hit that like button down below. Send those likes past. I mean, I see 1,400 souls watching the show right now. So please go hit that like button down below. Send it past 600 likes. That would mean a lot to me. Hopefully she'll be hopping back on here in a second. But as you hear right now, I mean, this is devastating. This is terrible, right? This is bad. Let me just make sure she's coming back because somehow just completely went out. But as you can see, her first account is, I mean, it's heart-wrenching to think that these kind of things, that this kind of thing did happen, how this has happened, and how people are not doing, like the staff, the people that were around her and her family and all that just did not really care for their own safety. We got her back. Hello.
Yes, sorry about that. I lost connection. My bad,
It's
guys.
okay. But you were talking about how you were seeing medical staff performing CPR and all that on
Yeah, towards the back of the crowd,
images.
I had seen that. They're trying their best from what I saw. At that time, I didn't know people getting were dying, actually. I didn't know at that point of time. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, it's a Travis Scott concert. They probably passed out. I definitely saw a lot of people drinking. I was like, they probably didn't drink enough water, you
Mhm.
know, stuff in that nature. Definitely when I got out, what really caught my eye was a frantic man. And I went up to him and I was like, hey, are you okay? And he was crying very hard. He was like, I lost my nephew in the crowd.
Mm.
He's only 10 years old. And I was like, a child? Like, I was super shocked that children were even present in this concert when he told me that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, a child, oh my God, but the more I look into it, Travis Scott has had things for children. So I don't want to take accountability that it's the parents' fault, but they should look into going to a concert like that.
Mhm.
But Travis Scott has done some things for kids, the Fortnite event, for example, the
Right.
McDonald's meal. So a lot of kids are influenced by this rapper. So of course I will understand why kids will want to come, but I was super shocked that kids were there.
Yeah.
That's one
No,
thing.
I gotta be honest. I was very, very surprised, especially this story that has just recently come out overnight about this
Yes.
young boy, 9 years old, Ezra Blount, and he's fighting for his life right now in a coma. And I'm going, wow, a 9-year-old kid was there, especially
Yeah.
something so um, physical, something that's so chaotic.
Yes.
Having a small child there is terrifying. But real quick, I got to ask you though, when you said that you got out, how did you get out? How did you get out of that squeeze?
It was crazy. So when he performed Butterfly Effect, I remember that specifically because I have that video on my phone. It started off, we were fine. The crunch got super compressed. At that time I couldn't breathe. I was still recording, but I wasn't even recording at that point. I was kind of just, I had my phone right here. I couldn't breathe. And he had those pillars still blowing up air of fire. And like, that was messing with me. And I was like, I cannot breathe with the fire that's still continuing on. So by the time I had lost my family, I started to panic a little bit, but I didn't want to panic to the point I started hyperventilating because when I panic very bad, I start hyperventilating. So I had lost them, started to panic because I was to the point where I was crunched up with these random guys. And they saw the fear in my face that I didn't want to be there anymore. And I just couldn't breathe either. And I was just like, man, like, I have to get out of here. Like, I lost my family. There's no point of me being here right now. Like, I don't even know these people. I don't know how bad the crowd is going to be. I can't even breathe at that point. I was like, I need to get out of here. And I was around these group of guys. And at that point, I was like, okay, I need to get out. I started telling them, I need to get out. I cannot breathe. I was literally like telling them, I was like, I cannot breathe. I need to get out. And they were just like, stick it out. We got you, you know? And then there was other guys I could hear like telling me, oh, you were placed in here, you know, like, you're cool. And I was just like, you know, in my head, I'm like thinking like, this is not cool. I can't breathe. And you're just kind of like peer pressuring me to stick it out. Like, no, I cannot breathe.
Yeah.
And I told them at that point, and there was this one guy specifically, he was like, I'm serious. I got you. And I was like, I was telling him like pleading. I was like, please, like, I cannot breathe. I need to get out. Like, I cannot breathe. And that was around that time I was starting to hyperventilate. And there was girls with their boyfriends or their friends. I don't know. Thankfully, they had told them, let her out. She cannot breathe. She's starting to panic.
Oh no. Lost her again, I think. I lost her again. Ah, man. Right when it starts getting good. Right? Again, I mean, this, just to think that this is what has happened is a terrifying thought, right? That this is, man, it is just terrifying to be put in that situation. We got her again.
Okay, I'm on my phone now because my computer's just not working for me.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. So you were trying to get out.
Yes.
You were saying something about getting out.
Yes. So I was telling I'm gonna just send myself like this. I was telling the guys I couldn't breathe. I need to get out. They were just kind of like, you know, go with the flow. Come on, we got you. Other people were like, don't let her out. You know, we've let so many people out. I could just tell like they were kind of annoyed. They were really annoyed that there were, you know, people were trying to get out. And I was begging.
Seems like there people are just like, hey, you're so close to greatness. You're so close to greatness. What are you doing? Why are you trying to get away? You know what I mean?
Yes, I think that was like, that's how they thought it as. I could just tell like they're kind of like, come on, like stick it out. Come on, you got this. Like, we're right here, you know, because I was pretty close to the front, and I'm not gonna lie. When I was telling them, and the girls thankfully told them, like, let her out. She's starting to panic. She needs to get out. She's gonna pass out. And I told them, I was like, I'm gonna pass out. I cannot breathe. They were like, okay, come on, let her out. That's finally. And then as I was like getting out, it wasn't like I was running for my life. I had to like physically use all my strength to push these dudes to the side, and while at that, trying to balance my focus on not falling either, because that's how crunched up the people were, especially against me. We're kind of like a pack of sardines, like you're kind of just slithering your way out.
Right.
And thankfully I was pushing. I even prayed to God. Like before that performance started, I prayed to God. I was like, please let this be smooth. Please, like, let it be good for me and my family. And I was just thinking, I kid you not, I was thinking of God. I was like, please, like, give me the strength to push these people away so I could get out. And as I was pushing these people away, I guess they had started a mosh pit. So I had ran like in the middle of that mosh pit, still trying to get out. And these guys were just jumping. And I was just like, oh my God, no, no, no. I was like, it's going to get bad because once a mosh pit starts, they kind of just push you around in it. And I was just like, no, like I cannot be stuck in this. So I was kind of still pushing. Once I got out of the mosh pit, ran through that, pushed other people. And then thankfully after like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I got out.
Thank God you did. So, and then you, of course, this is when you saw the frantic gentleman that was looking for his nephew, the 9-year-old or the 10-year-old nephew, and of course, seeing other people in dire straits as well. How did you reunite with your family that you got separated from inside that
So
squeeze?
before the performance had even started, we had made like a little pact that even during Don Tolliver, we made a little pact to meet up with the porta potties. But around that time of Travis, we knew like when the show ended, we're gonna have to be close to the front to exit. So we had agreed to meet up at the Cacti Station, which was in the very front, where the Astrodome was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was heading after I had got out of there. And I was kind of just looking at my surroundings when I got out. I didn't even look back to continue watching the whole performance. I did not want to look back after begging for my life. And these guys were so aggressive that they just didn't care. I was like, no way. I just don't want to see it anymore. I'm good. Like, I got my little video or whatever, because at that time I'm thinking, like, I didn't think this show was going to get bad. Of course, people were going to post about it. You got your video or whatever. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not going to continue watching the show. I'm kind of just done. Like, my energy level went from like this to this very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Saw my surroundings, saw that people were on the ground getting CPR. I was like, they probably passed out. That's kind of what happens at a Travis Scott concert. Um, Continue walking, saw the frantic man, try to help him, told me that his 10-year-old nephew was in the crowd. I was shocked, told him that I couldn't do anything about it because I just got out of that crowd and it was pretty bad. You need to tell the police. And he was like, oh my God, okay, okay. And he was running to the police. I don't know if that his nephew was found or not. Um, Thankfully, it wasn't the kid that's in a coma. That is so sad. That's super sad actually to
Yeah,
think
it.
about it, to know children were there and they could have lost their lives, and one's in a coma, sadly. And, condolences to them. That's super sad. Um, Made it past that, went to the Cacti Station, sat down. The security was being pretty rude. I was kind of sitting on the grass of the Cacti Station. I don't know if y'all know, if y'all were there, that they had a Cacti Station where you could take photos, get the drinks. They had like a display of fake grass. Some fans were sitting on that grass. Not even like, because there was like I guess like a thing to not enter like over it, and I wasn't even over it. I was kind of just sitting on a little patch of grass.
Mm-hmm.
Security was rude, was telling us to get off the grass, like don't be on the grass, like was being rude to us. And I was just like, what the heck, I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna get off the grass, sat on the ground. Um Literally as I was sitting down, I was kind of just catching my breath, and I was still trying to recover after just experience what I experienced. I was like, oh my God, let me just focus. Let me just concentrate for a little bit. As that's going on, I could hear the performance. I could hear Travis performing his songs. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of just like, okay, trying to calm down, listen to his music. as that's happening, I'm seeing lots of girls crying, limping, getting out of the crowd. I saw a lot of people leaving actually, and I was really surprised. And I was kind of like, "What's going on?" Around that time, I was kind of hoping to see one of my family members. Probably they got lost. I was like, "Do I see them? Do I see them?" Still didn't see anybody. Um, and then I heard Drake had started to perform. That's when I saw a whole bunch of people leave. And I was like, it's Drake. Like, why are people
Right.
leaving? I was so confused. And I still hear girls like I literally have the flashback of just hearing girls like crying so much. And I was just like, what happened? Like I was so confused. And I didn't see no ambulance at that time where I was sitting. I didn't see nothing. Like I didn't see anybody running to the stage, like any police or anything. I didn't see nobody doing that type of nature. I just saw fans leaving the stadium or the park from his performance, and I was just confused why so many people were leaving. Because when I say like it wasn't like 1,000 people leaving, it was like a whole group of like people, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why are so many people leaving? It's Drake, like.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. While you were there, while you were at this concert, I mean, it sounds terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously some things were really going down even after you left, but after you left the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But at any moment, at any point, did you see Travis ever acknowledge, aside from that one person that was being acknowledged that he had, or
So
that person was actually passed out, or actually
yeah.
that person was actually dead. But my question is, did he ever acknowledge about the safety of you guys at all?
Personally, from what I saw when I got out of the crowd, I was watching through the other screen of the other stadium where SZA and all them performed. They were kind of showing like the screen of the other side where Travis was performing. So I was kind of watching from a distance. Like I said, I was kind of just like trying to keep my calm, kind of going with his music.
Right.
I did notice he stopped once from what I saw, which was during when he performed 90210. I
Mhm.
did saw that he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I was watching that through the screen from a distance. They didn't show like what had happened. I just saw Travis like kind of like, oh, like whoa, like calm down, whoa, what happened?
Right.
You know? And I'm just watching the screen and he's kind of just like, what the fuck is that? At the ambulance. And I'm just like, at that time I didn't know what he was saying that about. Come to find out he was talking about the ambulance truck that was going through the crowd to get that fan.
Gotcha.
Um he's telling people, the security, get this person, and in the background I literally hear him like still continue the music, like just lower it, continue the music, security, come get this man. And I just see from the screen that he's humming and he's like, yeah, and everybody's seen that video of him
Right. While the
singing
guy's
that.
getting raised up and crowd surfed out of the crowd,
Yeah.
and that was obviously a dead body. That person had perished.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a very infamous video that's going around right now. Well, here it is, Liliana. I want to say first off, thank you so much for coming on and
Yeah,
telling
you're welcome.
your firsthand account of everything. And I'm sure things did not really fully things didn't really sink in until probably later. When did it sink in that you were able to survive something like this?
It synced in the moment I actually met up with my family. One of her friends looked really blue and green. I literally was really concerned. I was like, what had happened? Because I had lost them. So, of course, I wanted to know what had happened. Thankfully, I was reunited with them. Um, like that's one thing you're thankful for in that particular time. And especially what had happened, you're just thankful that you met up with the persons that you ended up going with. And thankfully I did reunite with them. I had asked her friend, I was like, are you okay? What
Okay.
had happened? And she told me briefly. She literally told me, she was like, it was super scary. Like we actually got to the very front. And I was just like, I was super surprised by that. I was like, wow, like, how was that? And she was like, it was super scary, Lily. Like, you know, I was on top of people, and security were trying to get us out
Right.
from the front. And I was just like, oh my God. And then I looked at Renee, which is his name. He was the one that looked really, really bad. I was like, what happened? Are you okay? He was like, no, I couldn't breathe. Like, I was about to pass out and I threw up and it was really bad. And that's how security got us. He saw me like throwing up and he got us.
Mm. Well, I mean, obviously a lot of not only just yourself, but a lot of the concert goers are there that were there that survived this stampede and this I'm calling it a squeeze.
Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys are all very thankful to be still on this planet above the ground and breathing right now.
Yes.
But Liliana, one last question, real quick last question before I unfortunately have to let you go.
Of course.
And I do appreciate you blessing us with your time and giving us your perspective. But should Travis Scott be held accountable for this festival?
Personally, yes. People are saying he stopped the show multiple times, but he could have stopped the actual show. He continued on. He egged his fans. He told security just keep, or whoever's controlling his music, he told him just keep the music tempo low, but keep going while people are getting assistance. And he's egging these fans on to continue to be riled up. You know, if he would have just stopped the show, if he could have just been like, take a few steps back, calm down. Hey, y'all guys, we got someone right here. Calm down, hold up. We'll continue in a little bit. You know, hold up. Like, I just think he riled up these fans to the point that they just didn't care.
Wow.
And personally, I just agree with that. With the many videos I've seen, with literally kids from the front to the back to the middle saying, stop the show, help, screaming for their lives, like that's traumatic. Like,
absolutely. Well, Liliana, again, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate it. You guys can follow her on her TikTok, which is what is your TikTok again? One more time.
It's Cardi in Love with Me. It's CARTI in, and then with the W, and then IN, of course. Hold up, is there like a chat where I could like post it?
Yes, you can go over to our my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll literally comment on there.
Awesome.
You'll see it. You guys will see it.
Well, Liliana, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and stay strong out there, okay? And you know, of course, we are all praying for you. We are all thankful that you are safe and sound, and you know, of course, keep me up to date so that we are all up to date on what's going on.
Yes, of course.
Okay? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Right. Man, like I said, guys, the stories just keep going and going. It's getting crazier and crazier. People have so many different accounts. There's thousands of people that have different perspectives of what has happened. And I have to say a big thank you to Liliana for coming on and telling us her side of the story, telling us her thoughts on all of this, because man, it's a heavy piece. Long story short, it is a heavy piece. But before we keep going, because I do have somebody very, 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 very special on that's about to be on here in just 2 seconds. Do me a solid, okay? Hit that like button down below. All right, hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. I see 1,500 souls watching the show right now. Please send it past 800 likes, okay? If you're appreciating the conversation and appreciating the information, please hit that like button. Of course, crush that subscribe button. We working hard out here in these streets, okay? I do have somebody very, very special on to talk about being a performer and being on stage, okay? This person that I have is very special, all right? A good friend of mine. This guy's a multi-platinum recording artist. Please welcome my brother Murphy Lee to the show. What up, man?
What up?
What's good, bro? How you been?
I can't call it, man. Just rolling. Roll life. What's up with you?
Man, same old thing. You know what I mean? You know, you out here with the Pascal Show fam. So say hello, multi-platinum selling artist. recording artist, Murphy Lee in the house.
You see me? Can you see me?
You see me.
You see
man,
that?
Red Hot Riplets all day long, man.
Hey,
all
I'm just
day long.
got some exclusive gear. But now,
so,
yeah, man.
Real quick, can you do me a favor? Angle the camera up so we can see more of your face. That first off, if you can, that'd be dope. The other thing is perfect. Perfect. Even
there we go.
Perfect. All right. So we got to talk about this whole situation here. Okay. Obviously, as you know, there have been this whole AstroWorld situation is going on right now. You are somebody who is performed in front and is still performing in front of several thousands of people every time you hit a stage. So I got to hear your thoughts on this. I got to hear your opinions on this whole situation with Travis Scott, right? And AstroWorld. Was there a possibility? Was there a way for him to even know that ish was really going down out there in the crowd?
Nah, you can't see. You can't see like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially to see if somebody's in distress or something like that. So for him to even see that first person that was in distress, you know what I'm saying, was just him being, that's his showmanship, to be so into his crowd that he was able to see that part. You know what I'm saying? But we talking 50,000 people out there. You know what I'm saying? We talking mosh pits. This is new rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? So let me tell you something like this, like what we're hearing right now, and condolences to all the families, that everybody that's hurt and all that. That's crazy. These situations happen all the time. It's just not in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the other genres of music, that mosh pit is normal. That go home with a bloody head, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There are real drugs out there that really don't have no pain. Like, literally. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what be going on out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that crowd, so I don't know. But them some powerful drugs to be able to just run and bump into somebody and headbutt each other and do all type of stuff that goes on in those type of concerts. So I don't like how once again, this happens all the time. I'm talking from deaths and everything. You know what I'm saying? This time it just so happened to be Travis Scott and Drake. You know what I'm saying? So that making it even bigger. That doesn't pass for anything. But I'm here to tell you that is super normal in a mosh pit. I mean, that's why you don't even be in front. You don't even get tickets to go that close if you're not ready to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what's crazy about it.
You say it's super normal for a few cuts and bruises, but death though,
death. I'm talking death. I'm talking death. They just not gonna report it because who's on stage.
Okay, so when you have a crowd, but when you have a history, let's just say, I mean, obviously you don't have this kind of history, but if you have a history of bringing in chaos, right? It's anarchy, it's pandemonium in the crowd, right? And then something like this happens, shouldn't the artist be held accountable to a certain extent? Because you got to remember,
he gonna be held accountable because he's gonna take care of everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? And like, but I don't think it's accountable. Like, did you know what I'm saying? Like, charges or nothing like that. I think it may be accountable to, you know what I'm saying, just him out of his heart to be able to, take care of the families and things of that nature. But in reality, you can't control that type of stuff. And now let's say if Travis Porter was the terrible rapper where he talks about killing and doing, you know what I'm saying, the craziest stuff of all times, then we have something. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, he got the crowd tripping. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't like that. His beats and his regular music makes people dance a certain way. And that type of crowd does that. And it ended up getting too crazy. And Drake came out. It was just over. You're talking about two of the biggest artists on earth right now. Came out in one place and they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? The crowd didn't know Drake was coming out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just got crazy. It was just like uncontrollable. And that's how I can get when you got 50,000 people not in seats. You know what I'm saying? We talking on the ground, walking, running. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
Murph, crazy.
Murph, you also got to remember that there's a lot of people that have had a bunch of standing room only general admission concerts that have had all of their people walk out at least alive, maybe injured.
Right. That's why it's a tragic situation. That's why it's a tragic situation. That's why it's called an accident. That's why it's called, like, it's not supposed to happen every time. It's supposed to be 1 in a million times, but it's just, man, I don't know. I don't like talking about it too much because it's people that lost their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it should only be about. Right now, it's like we can't play court. You know what I'm saying, with Travis and with their lives like that. Because
Right.
this part, us being in media and things of that nature, that plays a big part in you know, how people think and where they sway and where they weigh. But you know, I personally don't think it should be like he should be responsible for what happened to them. I do think that he should be held accountable to, like, you know, take care of what, you know, do what he can for the families and things of that nature.
Right.
Cause you can't control that, man. He ain't doing it for performing. He actually putting on an event for the city to give back, and it's like that situation is bigger than just him performing for his fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, that situation is something huge for Houston that happens every year, and it brings a lot of revenue to small businesses, and it's just super dope that he does it. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that this happened. That is like,
Right.
man, that's nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not supposed to happen. Like you said, nobody's supposed to go home, you know, with their life lost like that.
No, hell no. And that's where I can sit here and say, like, I'm just super surprised that something like this, you know, actually went down, right? Because it's still it's a freak of nature in a way. You know, you don't
Right.
think that's going to happen. So I understand in the perspective of a performer, you're on a stage, you're out there, you're seeing everything. But I also got to say this too, though. A lot of times you're doing things by rote. You're singing songs that you've done a million times over. It's not like you're sitting there internalized. You know what I mean? You're still engaging with the audience. You're still
Right.
engaging with people. So when somebody, and I get it that there's music blasting behind you, probably in ears and all that stuff too. But when you have a gang of people waving and saying, screaming, "Stop the show!" Right? It especially if you are looking and you are present and you are connecting with your audience, instantly you're going to catch that. Instantly you're going to go, wait, what's this? What's going on? What's up? What's going on? Now, from my understanding as well, the police went up to Travis Scott before the event and said that, like, basically said that they had some concerns about the event before he even went on the stage, and he still went on the stage no matter what. And now we have 8 people no longer here. We have a 9-year-old boy in a coma right now, fighting for his life. You know, I just feel like there's a little bit of this. There's a little bit of a level of responsibility that wasn't taken during that time. You see what I'm saying? Where he
No, I
could
see
have
what you
made.
I see what you, I see exactly what you're saying, but I want to tell you this.
Please go.
Let him not have gone on that stage.
I see what you're saying.
Let him
There would
not
have been
have gone on that
that would have
stage.
been a lot of angry people as well.
That would have been worse.
That could have been worse. I could see you
Could
saying
have been
this.
worse. I don't want to say, well, you're right. It could have been worse. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what's crazy about it. So I think man, I'm telling you, play all the precautions, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody come in there, they just warning you, like, yo, I think it should be this. You're an artist, man. It's so hard to control everything. You know what I'm saying? It's no
Right.
way you can be like, yo, all right, go tell those 50,000 people scoop this. You know what I'm saying? All you can do
Right.
is try to come on stage, yo, calm down like he did. Like, yo, let's get that person some help. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It's all you can do. And then once that music come on sometime, everybody jumping and doing. You can't tell if something going on a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell. Half of the time, those lights that are pointing at us on stage, we can't see nobody but the front row. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's points at those concerts with the lights and how we got it going. We can't see nobody in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
then halftime we got on these glasses. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're in the zone too. Same way you feeling that, the same way the fan feeling that. We feeling that too. So we in a certain zone too of our own. You know what I'm saying? That where we not paying attention. Sometimes I'm rapping with my eyes closed. How about that? Cause I'm nervous. You know what I'm saying? Or that's how I feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a lot to it, man. I definitely wouldn't, like I said, I don't want to be the judge or the jury before something even, say, charges get pressed or anything come towards them guys. But man, I just know it happened. When I tell you rock and roll and certain punk rocks and stuff like that, when I tell you, yes, lives are super lost. They're raves, they're 5-day raves and a week raves and 2 or 3D raves. Like, man, it go down. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a lot of lives, but they will never report it because you're not supposed to, right? So look,
Right.
you see the media now, you know what I'm saying? And you see what else going on. It's Ahmaud Arbery cases going on. It's all type of stuff going on right now. So I would want to put some press on Travis. You know what I'm saying? Like I would want to get the minds away from what's really going on. Stuff going on in the government office, all stuff going on right now as we speak. But they want us talking about this. So it's just deep, man. I think we should focus on the families and the lost lives more so than putting blame on an artist who you can't control that, man. And that's just me speaking from the artist. There's no way we can control that from up there. Just because my name is on the event, all right, that's the insurance part, and that's the responsibility part of to take care of that. There's a lot of insurance in that. It's no way you can get 50,000 people in Texas without having the biggest insurance policy ever to be able to handle situations like these. You know what I'm saying? You can't control that, and you don't want that to happen. That's the last thing. They came out to have a good time. It was kids out there, everything like. And they usually have a good time. This is not the first time at this rodeo. You know what I'm saying? They usually have a good time. Nobody did that last year. That didn't happen last year. You know what I'm saying? It happened now. So it's like, it's just crazy and tragic. And y'all got to think how he feel too, man. I'm being hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like they hurting too. You know what I'm saying? Like way worse than us as fans or us as critics. You got to think how Travis and them feel. That's like, that's almost like going outside and accidentally having a car accident and you're sober and everything. And then that whole car loses their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, golly, you know how I feel as the driver who did that? You know what I'm saying? Like, or, if we are putting responsibility on them, man, that's a hard one to take because we do it out of love, man. This music come from love. You know it. You know what I'm saying? You're a creator.
Right.
This come from love. This come from trying to put some smiles on people's faces. Like, I never want that to happen.
Of course you don't want that to happen. Of course you don't. Yeah. I mean, no one wants any of that kind of stuff to happen, period. But at the same time, there is that concern of, you're on the stage, there are people in front of you getting crushed, even right up in front of you, Right. And I get it. You're vibing out. You're on your own thing. You might be heavily lubricated. You might be influenced on some other stuff, maybe. But at the same time, there is a certain responsibility that you have for the audience, even if it is right there at your feet, because you are still rapping to them. You are still performing to at least the front row seat, let's just say, or the front row of people, right? And I just think that, when it comes to that kind of thing, he just wasn't present. He just wasn't paying attention and seeing what was going on. You see what I'm saying? And I feel
I'm not security though. I'm not saying it's jobs. Everybody should have that. It should have been. I think it just should have been more people talking to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see side stuff where they was like trying to tell the cameraman, like, tell him to stop the show. That cameraman can't run up there and say stop the show. He don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? He don't know what's going on either. It's the security in the front. Like, they got to play a lot of responsibility too, because once they see something, they know for a fact. It's fire marshals and all type of stuff. You said the police came to them before the show. Where were they? Right there. Like, that's when they say, yo, it stops. And they can go to the sound man and stop it. They don't got to wait on Travis to stop it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, Travis, he probably drunk, high, you know what I'm saying? No telling what he on. Like, the same thing the crowd on. Like, he feeling it right now. He don't know nothing. At the same time, when an emergency happens, the fire marshals, chiefs, all those police, everybody, security are allowed to go to the sound man and they can stop that show. So the message, the communication did not get around, and what was happening had to happen so fast and like whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't, man. That's like saying stop those rhinoceroses. Right. Oh no, we didn't tremble. Like, it's real, man. It's no joke. And no laughing, man. I'm not laughing because of that. I'm just like, the comparison is like, dude, you cannot. Once it happens, oh my God, it's
But
like,
also at the same time, Murph, you still have the power of that microphone. So even if some issues going down, you could literally control that. And if, like, here it is, you got Travis
I'm
Scott.
saying you don't
You
know
got
though.
Travis. Hold on one second. Let me just say my piece.
I got you. My bad.
You got Travis Scott, who has diehard followers, diehard fans, people who are all about his business, all up in his stuff. Anything he says, they do, right? So you have that microphone, you have the power to control that crowd. That's what MC is called, right? That's what MC stands for, Master of Ceremonies. Being able to master the ceremony, being able to tell people to control that. You have a certain amount of charisma, a certain you're a charismatic human being. If you're on a microphone and you're going, yo, let's get lit, everyone gets lit. If you go, hey, whoa, everyone chill, calm down, hold up, you can actually control that crowd. So instead of it being just a whole bunch of like a stampede of rhinoceroses, he could actually talk to them to quell that wave of chaos that was going on out there. But I don't think he was very present with that. I think, understandably, he's hype. He's having a great time. He wants to kick it. He wants to, he's in front of 50,000 people, 50,000 plus people. That is an amazing high that you can get from that, right? That adrenaline is just unimaginable. But at the same time, though, you have a certain responsibility when you're on that stage. And if he was able to really see what's going on right there in front of him, he should have said something. He should have done something. There were people that were getting crushed right in front of him. I mean, how do you not see that? And he doesn't have to be security, right? He doesn't have to be security. He doesn't have to be a cop. He doesn't have to be medical. He could just literally say as simple as this: everyone take one giant step backwards, everyone chill. And that could have saved a lot of people's lives.
And they're not going to do it. Look, Pascal, it's hard. It's that's a hard thing. That's a very hard thing to control. You can control good. It's hard to control bad. Once the fight start, it's hard to break a fight up. It's just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially coming from up there, like I said, security, police, sheriffs, everybody else can stop that music if that's the case. Right now, they're not going to listen to nothing. Once they start moving, it's so hard to say, yo, chill. You seen how many things in life you just somebody be like, chill, and nobody chills. That ain't enough. And they hype too. Them kids, man, so many people out there on drugs and on stuff, they don't even hear him. They just there. Like when I tell you they're there and not there, they just there.
Gotcha.
They looking at the people around them, looking in their phone. They're not there. They're not present too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole play in that. You can't control it, man. I'm telling you. You can't control it once it goes down. Only thing I can see Travis doing is walking off the stage. And because we don't see that camera and because we don't know the whole story, we can't not say that. Because once that real stampede started, everything stopped. It couldn't no way he could keep going. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and they're they're going to show you what they want to show you. That's what I'm saying. We're being a part of something like right now. Like they're going to show us what they want us to see, bro. And that's not cool. And when I tell you, it's a lot of concerts going on. It's a lot of concerts going on. I'm talking about super mosh pits and lives lost. And a lot of lives lost.
A lot of chaos, and a lot of people getting injured. You got a point there. You definitely got a point there. But Murphy, I do appreciate you coming on and chopping it up with me. I know you got a new album. I know you got a new album that's out right now, second time around. Can you tell people about it really quick before I let you go?
Yes, man. Store.newmurph.com. Go check it out, man. You can get the album from me. I got a couple singles right now on your streaming service. Go check that out. Just Google Murphy, man. I'm on a mission right now, so I appreciate you, man. Getting me up this morning. I had a late flight. I had came in like about 2 or 3 in the morning on a flight. I never flew in like that before. This is crazy. So I'm a little still tired.
No, man. I appreciate you taking the time to jump on and chop it up with me. And you know what? Give us a different perspective because we don't have that perspective. We all have the concert goer, the fan that's out in the audience, but not the person that's actually on the stage. So I do appreciate you coming in and giving us that those truths. You know what I mean? That
Man.
perspective. All right.
Definitely. Travis got power, but it's kind of hard, man. That's a lot of power to be able to tell people to stop. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't listen to stop. They listen to go. They'll throw their hands up in the air and wave them like just don't care. But when you telling somebody to stop, stop. Like people don't react fast enough.
I feel
tell
you.
It's like my 5-year-old. All right, man. I
No,
have a good one, bro.
you ain't wrong with that. So I appreciate you,
Yeah.
man. You ain't wrong. Thank you, my man. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
I appreciate you. Keep going.
You too. All right, man. Peace. Definitely a different perspective for sure. But I do appreciate that perspective because I do hear a lot of performers actually saying remotely in the neighborhood of what Murph has just said. I mean, there's a lot of people out here that feel some type of way. Obviously, we all feel some guttural, visceral feeling about what happened and what transpired. But at the same time, being on that stage is another experience and it's another perspective than being out in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So I really do appreciate that perspective on all this. Now, I am going to open up the video chat line because I wanted to hear other people's opinions on all this stuff. By all means, I see a bunch of y'all in here. Please, I see over thousands of souls watching this show right now. Please hit that like button. Send it. Man, I would love it if we get to 1,000. If we can get to 1K likes, that would really mean a lot. All right. But before this disappears, let me do that again. Let me do that one more time. Put that link in here before it disappears. One more again. Pin this bad boy to the top. Come on. Because I'd love to hear your perspective. Love to hear your thoughts on all this. I do have David in the stream with me right now. What's up, David? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I need 2 seconds because I need to slow down this chat. I could not stop it during the conversation because I've only done it a couple times and I'm still learning how to do it, dag nabbit. So David, do me a favor. Can you tell me how to do that again? I literally was like, I can't do this because I've only done it 2 or 3 times and it has not. I'm not used to having such a crazy amount of comments flooding in, and I want to make sure that I can slow this chat down a little bit because it's been flying like crazy.
Yeah,
do you know how to do this?
I think if you just click on the settings of your live chat, you should be able to see a slow mode option in there that you can click on. I'll send you this over.
Nope.
I'll send you
That's the
instructions.
thing. That's the thing I don't like. Like that's the one thing that I that drives me nuts about YouTube. Like it should be on the thing. You see what I'm saying? It should just be clicked right on the side. I can just slow it down without even thinking twice. But no, it's got to be all difficult-ish.
No, other help is usually a few updates behind. So they often tell you to go to a section of the page that's not there anymore.
Hold on 1 second.
So I guess while you look for that, I did have some additional information. Since we were talking mostly about Travis Scott, I thought we could point out some of the problems with Live Nation Entertainment in its past.
Go ahead. I know I do have some people lining up in the video chat. I promise you we're going to be pulling you guys up and all that. But yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. So obviously this wasn't a new situation. This has happened multiple times with them before to the point that Live Nation actually has mass casualty plans to enact in cases like this, even though it does not seem to be the case that they actually activated at this time. And that could go back to the poor training of the individuals. However, throughout their history, since about 2006, Live Nation has had nearly 750 injuries and 200 deaths at its events in 7 countries, and that's since 2006. They've been under multiple federal investigations for work safety violations as well as antitrust violations, kind of trying to control the science or music scene. And they have actually supported a lot of the bigger artists. Radiohead, Madonna, Beyonce, Dua Lipa, Drake, and Jimmy Buffett are all people that they've handled in the past. But they had an incident in 2006, which was mostly just injuries. But at 2010 Vancouver Olympics that they were managing, surging fans managed to. It was during a hardcore concert. They don't name the band, but they broke through the barricade and injured about 20 people there. And then, of course, they had an issue in England with a bomber, which obviously that one's not necessarily their fault, though that was an incident that happened. So so far they've had a total of $50 million in settlements since 2006 in terms of injuries and casualties at these concerts that they have settled so far. And they're still under one lawsuit from July 2016 for a woman named Gwen, or for a woman who, during a concert of Gwen Stefani, managed to break her leg, and that was one of the most recent lawsuits. But they continue to have more. Between 2006 and 2019, they had 10 OSHA violations, as well as problems with ladders, ropes, and scaffolding being set up improperly so that it could have fallen on people. And they've been using non-union workers a lot so that they don't report their injuries to the union. They just have to go to the hospital. And this is kind of a cycle that they've continued to do since 2006, as late as 2009. And I think you can say that this safely shows that it's continuing on.
Wow. I mean, and of course, obviously this stuff is going to still, truths are going to start filing out. You know what I mean? Start flooding out with more information revolving the negligence or the past bad doings of the the companies that were involved with AstroWorld. But we do have love and respect, Anastasia Marvelous, and we have Laura Estrada in the house. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Love and respect. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? We've had quite the epic morning of conversations. What are your thoughts on all this so far?
I feel like, and I just want a moment to really just say how I feel, because this really troubled my spirit. And I put the name Love and Respect because I can love and respect everyone regardless of their stance on the situation. Well, regardless of their stance on anything, whether I agree with it or not, right? I can love and respect you. I think that's what the world needs more of. But in terms of the Travis Scott situation, I feel like the reason why I feel all of them are responsible. Live Nation or whatever, Travis Scott is responsible. The reason why we put the emphasis, or in my opinion, I put the emphasis on Travis, is because I feel as though he commands this type of energy at his shows. And I read a commentary from someone who did security at his shows a while ago, and he mentioned Travis had the crowd to storm them, and he mentioned that he put his life in danger, and as security was trying to secure the show, he's yelling F you to them as they're stopping people from rushing the stage. He's encouraging them to rush the stage. I saw footage of him encouraging someone to jump into the crowd. His shows are known for these type of things, and I feel like at some point you have to know the rooster, the chicken will come home. You can't just do that type of thing. You are putting your fans' life in jeopardy. I feel like it's totally out of control, and someone should have spoke to him a long time ago. He has been arrested for inciting riots at his concerts. That's nowhere that's safe. He's not putting the safety of people first. But what really got me about this situation, and I'm just going to take it to a spiritual level, and regardless of whether you say I'm not Christian or whether you say, hey, I'm big into spirituality, people have a different stance. You have to understand, demons and angels are real. And when people are saying that he's commanding an energy, he's doing a ritual, get it out your mind of, oh, there's a man walking around with, drums and feathers on his hat. No, when they're saying that, what I feel, he summoned the devil there. I looked at the art, I looked at the setup, I looked at a lot of things that were in relation to this event, and he summoned the devil. And I looked at the stage. I think that a lot of these celebrities don't understand, some of them may, how they are used. Who is picking the design for these photo albums? Who's picking the stage layout? There's so much symbolism in all the artwork in the stage that was leading up to this event. And it, to me, everyone, even people that weren't religious or spiritual, I heard some of them say, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual. They even spoke about how they felt they were in hell. And I said, you know what it is? You were in hell. You got a little taste of it. And if you didn't like it, I suggest you get yourself together, because a ritual is not what we see in the movies, okay? Music moves spirits. And those demons were flying all around that place. And people in our human minds, we don't understand that, because, well, I understand it. But, you know, when you talk about a young person, I could say at 21, I didn't understand that. Those demons were flying through that place and took the breath out their bodies. It showed them a taste of hell, the heat. Travis music, I don't listen to it, but from my understanding, he talks about hell a lot. He talks about demons a lot. One thing we see people saying oftentimes, now we hear oftentimes, is demon time. That, why do we have to keep having these dark themes, this dark music, to realize that the devil is being used to get our future, which is our children? And this is why the more time goes on and on, it gets worse and worse. I'm not victim blaming, but I am a mother. I wouldn't let my child listen to that. Not, and you don't have to shield your children, but you do, until an age of understanding. You know when your child can handle that stuff. I feel like a 10-year-old should not be listening to that, but that's my standard of parenting. I will not knock what someone else do with their child, but would I let my 10-year-old go to that show? And and it really broke my heart, because I am a mother, to hear that this child is fighting for their life, because the parents were from out of town and they did not understand what they were sending their child into. They had an expectation for a normal concert. They sent that baby into a hell realm. All of those people. So if you felt like you were in hell, I really hope that y'all get y'all spirits together and understand that the devil was over music. And when you think about that, you have to think of an expert. He was over, meaning out of all the angels, he was the most equipped to do the job. Why do you feel like he's in hell and he's just not going to use music? That was his gift. And music is very powerful. You can put people in a room that don't speak the same language, but that music will provoke an energy in those people. They don't even understand what's being said.
Gotcha.
I watched this lady from Haiti. I'm sorry, I'm gonna end right here. I heard a lady from Haiti just talking about that, how they use drum to invoke spirits. I'm not gonna go on anymore. I know it's other people that want to speak, but I just want to just urge people, regardless of what you believe in, educate yourself. Be careful. Everyone said it didn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, listen to your gut. Listen to your gut, because this was totally preventable. All right, I'm gonna go. I love your show.
Thank
and
you,
I just
love
had
and
to get
respect.
that off my chest. Thank you
No,
so
I
much,
appreciate you
guys.
saying that. That was a perspective. I appreciate it. Thank you, love. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, guys.
Marvelous One is in the house. How you doing, my brother? Hello, Marvelous One. Hello, Marvelous One. I guess we lost Marvelous One.
Streamlab did freeze for a brief second there, right before we lost him.
Oh, okay. Marvelous One. Oh, wait. No, he's back over here. Or they. Marvelous One.
Oh, hey, I got disconnected, man.
Oh, you good, man. Where you calling in from, real quick?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Okay, what's your thoughts on this whole thing, man? Speak on it.
I feel like it was just straight up demonic, bro. Like he got the stage as an upside down cross. He had the dove on fire. I feel like they were using sound frequencies to like make the crowd in a trance type. Because you go to other shows with rock concerts and everybody's looking out for each other, bro. None of these people cared about any of these other people getting stomped on. None of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you also got to remember though too that there was he's been implementing this kind of vibe for a long time too. It's not like this was just one show and suddenly this was the show that just was nuts, right? You know what I mean? It's
You're
not
right.
all of a sudden like, oh wow, this one show. Like, I get where Love and Respect was saying, where she was coming from and all that. I get that. I ain't
Right.
dumb. I wasn't born in a cave or lived under a rock. I get the symbolism and the craziness that was in there, that can be very questionable. But at the same time, though, he's been doing these kind of shows where he's just been throwing out chaos and mayhem and ridiculousness. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
for this to be a thing, shouldn't be a surprise given the fact that you got to remember it's been 2 years since they did a show. So you got all those kids that have got their pent up rebellion that's been sitting there festering for 2 years, and then finally when they get to relieve all of that stress or whatever that they have in their bodies, it goes off like a powder keg.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I'm not knocking what you're saying, Marvelous. I'm not at all. I get the angle. Trust me, I do. But there is also a part of me that's like, yo, this was a long time coming. She said,
another thing is,
it was that
go ahead.
vibe too. No, I'm just saying when she said chicken comes home to roost, it was that vibe too. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like everything came to a head because he's been a product of this kind of energy for years. But Marvelous, go ahead.
But the other thing is, in the beginning of the show, they had thousands of people rushing the security, the line, and all that. Like, they should have canceled the show off the rip. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
People just running over the security. Like, people could have bought in anything. And, like, I can't even go into a gas station without a mask, but they got people not even showing their Vax cards going to that show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
they have videos, people saying they didn't even check their stuff, but I can't even go into a gas station. This shit seems like it has an agenda behind it.
Right.
Like,
like I said, it was already chaos from the rip. It was, you walked in, you heard it from Liliana. Security didn't even give a damn, really. It was almost like it was set up lazy. They didn't, or they were set up something, you know what I mean? Something was just not right. But at the same time, though, Travis was putting in things in his tweets, on social media, basically saying, hey, no matter what, we're all going to rage. We all going to get together. We're going to rage. No matter if you have tickets or not, we're still going to rage, so on and so forth. And 2 years before this, people were barging through too, 2 years before this as well. So, this is a language, this is a lifestyle. This is a pattern that was already implemented 2 years before. So people were thinking, hey, we could do this all over again. We could do this again. It's okay, right? But Anastasia, hello, Anastasia.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello. What are your thoughts? Speak on it, please.
Yeah. This time I came prepared. I went through the facts. I'm gonna correct something I did before. I got the agenda. I watched one of the lawyers making the statement and their whole defense strategy. So I got my talking points this time. I came prepared. Okay, so first of all, I was gonna self-correct. I made a mistake previously. I said that Live Nation is based in Austin. It's not based in Austin. It's just a local company called C3. Got partnered up with Live Nation, and they've been advertising themselves locally as Live Nation and C3. But for years, so that's how I assumed it's a local company. But in reality, Live Nation is really a monopolist. Like, it's a huge conglomerate company that owns most of the big events. Like David said, the Olympics in Canada. And I know there were some people previously calling in from Canada, and I read some comments saying like, oh, it would have never happened in Toronto. And I'm like, well, chances are most of these big events organized in Toronto are likely, like, Live Nation has some stakes in those events. It's very unlikely that they would not. And then the same thing, we had Lisa yesterday calling from Ireland, and she was talking about Glastonbury. The first thing I did after the show, I Googled Glastonbury Live Nation, and sure enough, Live Nation did own a huge stake in Glastonbury as well. So it's a huge, it's a monopolist, and there are only two countries, Turkey and Norway, that asked Live Nation during their big merger with Ticketmaster to kind of like comply with the local antitrust laws and like back off a little bit of the market. But otherwise, when they merged with Ticketmaster, they turned into a monster that really like owns everything, like every other event that you go to around the world. And a lot of countries, it's like even Rock in Rio in Brazil, it's Live Nation to like they at least own like, I don't know, some percentage in that event. And yeah, like David said, they had this history of violations, so they always managed to somehow weasel their way out through apparently during a case in Nevada and Vegas a few years back, according to one of the lawyers that just recently filed a lawsuit, they were able to weasel their way out by using the arbitration clause on the tickets that basically said that you cannot sue the company if this and that happens. But in this case, they're not going to be able to do that because it's the death is involved and death of the minors. So they're going to be held responsible. And then I looked at the whole strategy of one of the lawyers for the victim's last name is Acosta. It's like a young man who's 21, passed out in that event. And so I looked at their strategy because that strategy is going to basically tell you, like right now here, we're all asking like, who's responsible? Is this Travis Scott? Is this Live Nation? Or these other companies? Like, well, who's responsible? And the lawsuits are the ones that are going to tell you because they've already done their research. They already know who are the parties involved. So it's largely Live Nation and Travis Scott, because one thing you have to realize about AstroWorld, it's apparently run by Travis Scott, or he's like has a big producer role in that whole event. Like it's the festival, it's associated with Travis. Like he's the one that like founded or co-founded it.
Right.
And so
I mean, no matter what, I think that there's going to be always some sort of connection to Travis. I mean, especially with the entities that he does have, like we talked about with Pocket Watcher with JT earlier in the show. There is going to be some sort of connection, but I wouldn't sit there and say, I mean, he still can be safe, from what they're saying, as far as Travis Scott himself as a person, he could still be safe within this whole thing.
Yeah. Like we have to realize that Travis Scott is not just this one guy. His real name is Jacques. It's like the whole maybe that's why he has the affinity for the whole French thing, because his name is so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting, especially with the history of the promoters. They have a history of these kind of things where there's been negligence, lack of doing certain things when they should have stepped up and did things. They didn't do it as well. Certain people have died at other events or have been severely injured at certain events that these promoters or these organizations were involved in. So yeah, that's absolutely true for sure. And thank you for that information.
The legal terminology that the term that he is right now getting sued for, or like that the law enforcement is investigating, is inciting the riot. That's right. The legal term. He can also in the Texas statute, another one is interfering with the government operations. So meaning that he could have stopped the show. Like they're gonna have some hard time proving it, but like it is not impossible with all the video footage.
I mean, there's plenty of footage for sure.
Yeah, because
they're going to show proof for sure. But I do have to throw it over to other people really quick. I'm sorry because I don't have a whole lot of time. But Tyler is in here. Tyler, what's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, hi. Is my audio screwed up, or can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine. What's on your mind, my brother? Speak on it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts about this.
Shoot.
Yeah, I just think I see people like in the media trying to like pin this all on Travis, when I think when I agree with like a lot of what the callers are saying, it's Travis and everyone, or at least a lot more than just like one person, obviously. Like I think like the event planners, Live Nation, Just the way everything was handled. Also, I note that I feel like people are trying to make this like a generational thing. Like, oh, back in my day, we didn't have this sort of thing. Like, but I think as I think previous people have pointed out, there was like a Who concert back in like the late 70s, and like that exact thing happens. Like
Right. About
same
8 people died. I think like 8 people died in that concert, the Who concert as well. I mean, there's plenty of videos, there's plenty of concerts where people. Murphy Lee was not wrong when he said that there have been plenty of concerts where people have left hurt, badly injured, and the sort. I mean, people do crazy
Right.
stuff at these concerts. I mean, Travis Scott's show is not an anomaly, right? This is something that has happened at all kinds of concerts. I mean, you can go to the most chillest, most relaxed type of concert, and somebody's going to get too drunk and trip and fall and sprain their ankle, for crying out loud. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You do a mosh pit type of punk rock show, and chaos can ensue there too. So
it doesn't make it right, though. To be fair,
no,
obviously.
it doesn't. Yes, and I do truly believe that there is a certain level of responsibility that you have as a performer when you're out there, to control the crowd, at least controlling that crowd. But Mafe is in the house. Hello, Mafe. Hello, Mafe. I guess we lost that person. Shaunathon, hello.
Hello. Good morning.
What's up, man? What are your thoughts on this, real quick? Speak on it.
So, I'm not gonna take a lot of time.
You good?
Because I do kind of agree with what everybody is saying, all sides. But a lot of the things that I have been feeling is just, I really feel like right now it's kind of the capitalist COVID effect. Like, you're seeing a lot of people do the cash grab thing. Like, everybody's trying to make sure they're keeping things going to make $1. But in hindsight, by him getting, the notice about, oh, we don't have enough security for this type of thing, and like the people just running through the gates. I don't know if y'all seen that, like jumping over fences and stuff just to get there. And everybody didn't have a ticket. We already know that. And so by people not, being security, they're not having enough medics, and there not being enough water stations. It was just out of control from the get-go. It should have been more control with that kind of situation, especially seeing how his concerts have been in the past, and how, we've seen festivals like, what was that, a couple months ago, they were having similar situations out there in Florida during the other festival. And it's like, we're constantly going back to this whole thing where, people are losing their lives or losing consciousness because there's a lot of bumping and jumping, and we're already having a problem where people can't breathe in those type of situations, just COVID alone. And now it's like, y'all are compressing people down, y'all are pushing. And one thing that I'm not going to sit up here and say that Travis isn't responsible for anything, because I mean, like, yeah, I got what Murphy was saying earlier about, the lights and it's bright and all that stuff. But as soon as you see something, you can say something. And you can't tell me that while your little thing was rolling through the crowd, you were not seeing anything, because you saw some things. And yeah, 300 people out of what, 50,000? It's a small amount of people, but being your fan and us all being fans of yours, I don't think you need to tell people, oh, rage. I want to see some ragers. I want to see y'all jump. Because why would I want another fan of me to hurt each other? You don't see that at almost anybody else's concerts. Like, yeah, y'all were talking about like rock concerts and other stuff like that. But like, I go to plenty of concerts, and I've left out with my life. Yeah, people are gonna push. Yeah, people are trying to get to the front and trying to get their best angle and stuff. But at the end of the day, we're all here to see somebody. We're all here to be entertained at the end of the day.
Right.
And for them not to make sure that they had the proper setup and had the proper things in motion to make sure that everybody was controlled, like everybody was safe, everybody had a way, you know, in and out of the situation. It's, to me, it just seems like money hungry. So
I see what you're saying. I mean, you know, and I'm with it.
I agree.
You know, I'm with it all day long. I think, you know, there is, you know, I think that there was a lot of people that were feeling that exactly what you're saying. Like I think we all agree that there is no way that he could not see what was going on. Like that he could not see that people were in dire straits, that people were hurt. You see what I'm saying? That, you know, and that's what I was saying with Murphy Lee. You know, it's like you got these people right there in front of you. I understand all the way out there in the nosebleed seats type ish. I get that. That's impossible. Like I said, you cannot be omnipotent. Okay, you are not God. You can't be everywhere and everywhere at the same damn time. But you can at least look at the people in front of you and say, "Hey, they look like they're suffocating." Or, "Hey, there's a dude that passed out right there." Even so, he stopped the show for a second and said, "Hey, let's move this guy really quick." You know what I mean? He saw people in dire straits and he did one thing and then that was it. And then he continued. He was like, "Y'all came here to do something. Let's go." You know what I mean? And it's just like, y'all know what you came here to do. And then, you know what I'm saying? So there's
he just continued on.
And they just continued on. Exactly, Tyler. Like he just did not give two dimes about nobody else. Now, here's the funny thing. I showed it on a video earlier on yesterday's show, where he showed there was a TikTok of these people getting picked up by police and, you know, paramedics and the sort. And then as soon as they got that area cleared, they cleared out the way so that his baby mama, who's pregnant, his daughter Stormy, his Kylie Jenner's sister or something like that, they all were escorted out before anybody else was able to move. Before they got to move anyone out, that's what they moved them first in the VIP section where no one was being harmed at all. They were okay right there. So it doesn't make sense that, like, they had to have known something, and not one person went up to the stage at least and tried to alert him about this situation. And that's where the mess up is. We got Mafe here. We're going to try this again. Mafe, hello.
Hey, thank you so much. I apologize. And it's Mafe, just FYI, no biggie. Thanks for having this venue. I've been joining different live streams because when I saw some of the footage, I was just totally shocked by what I saw. You know, people from the spiritual community, or, you know, who are more spiritually inclined, whichever way you want to say it. I mean, you know, it was in the flyers, all that different iconography was everywhere. It was in paper, it was digital, it was the visuals on the stage. I mean, you were walking through his mouth, so many different things that freaked me out. And then in addition to all the events, you know, it adds up. And if you want to acknowledge it, fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. But what's there is there for us to see. And, you know, it was total chaos from the beginning. It was chaos when people were rushing to get in, rushing to get the merchandise. And the security people were just standing there watching them. And I'm not even like pooping on the security people. I'm just saying, when you've got that level of chaos, I mean, there's, you know, if you believe or not, for those of us that believe, true evil is, you know, agents of chaos. And that was just chaos from the get-go. Whether Travis or not is a warlock or something, it doesn't even matter at that point. If it's something that's been repetitive from previous shows, from previous concerts, that all also adds up energetically. So maybe this was, you know, when it all just, I don't even want to say exploded, when it all came to a head, but we got to recognize what we're seeing, in my opinion. And, you know, let's take that all away. Let's just talk about the fact that him and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, are like gajillionaires. When are these people that have so many opportunities with their income, with their connections and stuff, just not going to take responsibility for their actions. And by actions, I mean even what he's singing or what he's wearing, or, you know, this AstroWorld that he is, per my understanding, one of the producers. I mean, this isn't just Live Nation, this is his baby. So I think that's where I just get really upset about it. Like, we can't keep making excuses for people who have all the means to do things right. You know, I mean, Kylie, come on. She's like a gajillionaire, or she tries to be, or she likes to be. So don't all of a sudden be like, oh, oh my
Exactly.
God, things went wrong. I can't take, you know, this wasn't my fault. It's like, no, it is. You're very much part of this problem. Take it like a man,
Right.
and own it.
Yeah, I mean, first off, you know, not only does he have deep pockets, but she does, you know, Kylie Jenner has deep pockets as well. And the one part that I don't get is why they would cut corners to you know, to try to save $1 or $2. To me, that just doesn't make any bloody sense at all. I meant omnipresent. I saw somebody correct me. I said I did not mean I meant omnipresent. Okay. Omnipresent meaning like he is everywhere, right? Like God. God is everywhere. You know, that's the theory that God is everywhere type thing. Omnipresent. That's what I was trying to say. But yes. And thank you for the correction. Thank you. Because I'm not trying to come out here sounding like a damn fool up in this piece. But Travis is not omnipresent. He cannot be everywhere and everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere, but he can at least do what he can in front of him. I think that they cut corners to save a couple bucks or two. But here's the thing, though. That's not only on him. That's not resting only on him. That is on the company that he hired, or that he agreed with, his team at least agreed to bring in to have them do this said security job, or the security detail, or the medical staff that was from what they say was not properly vetted, or was not fully certified, I guess, to be able to do their said job. Apparently there were some paramedics that were actually there, some actual medical staff that were like ICU or paramedics that were hired to come in and do the job, but not everybody knew what they were doing, and that's what's so sad about it. And it was understaffed like a mug. Magisa, I got Magisa in the house. Hello, Magisa. Hello, Magisa. Okay. We got Laura Estrada. Laura.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Laura.
How are you guys? Whoa, this is an intense conversation.
Yes, it is.
For
yes, it is.
sure.
But you are my last comment of this whole chat. So because I gotta unfortunately jump on to this next story. But what is on your mind? What are your thoughts on this? Speak on it.
Oh my goodness, I feel like an oldie but goodie, but I've been to a lot of concerts. I've been to do you remember a guy named Marilyn Manson who had a big old, freaking pentagram, and we had some freaking Nazi stuff going on, and it was the vibe. It wasn't, I mean, I've been to a Slayer concert, guys. I've been to Danzig. I've been to some serious like rock shows, and
sounds badass.
But yet I do. It's just, how can you say it, that is the devil, the satanic stuff, all that stuff. That is his gimmick, and that is his vibe, and that is, I mean, the vibe is evil because there's so much aggression. There's so much fear. You got to remember, we've been in a pandemic for over a year. People they want to go out. They want that. They're angry at their state. They're angry at the government. This is like social chaotic stuff happening. And
pent-up aggression.
I think I get frustrated because everybody wants to just go to the aesthetics of seeing pentagrams and devils, and I'm reading this stuff about frequencies in the chat room with vibes, and it's very hard to hear, because when it comes down to it, I get it. As a country, we are we're wounded, we're traumatized, or everything. This just shows me again more and more our entertainment, our youth, money not being spent in the right areas. I mean, I honestly do blame Live Nation. I blame the people that didn't think ahead of time. With the vaccination, with 50,000 people, with getting, I mean, Lollapalooza, people were duking it out for water. Woodstock, same thing in the 60s and 70s. I mean, in the 60s, there's a thing about there wasn't enough food and people get upset. And also it's the mob mentality. I mean, we know that you see someone run, two people run, you start running. You're seeing your band, you're seeing that you've been waiting just to see this music live, and the energy, it almost gives me anxiety hearing it because you were so pumped, but then all of a sudden went into fear, and it looks like the security people just gave up on these poor people. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling with everything that people are saying, but everyone's had great points. I really kind of lost the way when it started getting really, spiritual. That's people's
Spiritual.
opinions.
Yeah,
Talking
no,
about like the devil
here
and
it
stuff.
is.
Yeah.
Right, and here's the thing. I mean, there are going to
those that
be
said it.
we can't. Hold on, Tyler. We can't sit there and fake the funk. Let's be straight funky. People are going to look at those things and they're going to think what they want to think. They're going to see all the demonic imagery. They're going to see all this stuff. They're going to see hellfire, all this stuff. They're going to see his T-shirt. They're going to see dystopia. They're going to see you on the other side. They're going to come to their own conclusion, right? And there's no shade in that. No shade of that in that at all. They that's why it's created. But Sidecar Tommy just said it's called art, and I do agree with that. It is a theme. It's a theme that he was trying to go with. That I think was really a crappy coincidence of all this kind of stuff happening. I mean, if it was like him standing up there with a whole bunch of Care Bear stairs, you know what I'm saying? Like Care Bear stare, and then people were actually killed during this time. I feel like some sort of person is going to find some angle to say there's some Illuminati-ish going on because of this, that, and the third. Because the heart Care Bear is a symbol for something. I'm just saying.
No,
people want to find their angles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like deflecting responsibility from Travis and like Live Nation to all these other, spiritual things. Like,
yes, the thing is like this. All I'm trying to say is that he has every right to present or put on his stage whatever he wants, right? It's just a bad situation that transpired that revolved around imagery that is considered demonic. You see what I'm saying? And that's the sad part of it all. Right. Now, like I said, there are going to be people like love and respect, right, that are going to sit and see this and see it a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Art is there to be interpreted, right? That's the whole purpose of art. So the people are interpreting it the way that they want to interpret it. Art is perceptive, right? It's all about the perception, the angle, and who is receiving the art, right? You might see this and go, oh, it just makes me want to drink a Dr. Pepper. Somebody else will look at it and go, oh my gosh, it is saying so much more than just that, right? It's all about the perception. It's all about how the person who is receiving the art feels, right? Art is in the eye of the beholder at the end of the day. And so, unfortunately, this all revolved around something really, really bad. And then on top of it, it's just fire and brimstone, and people are looking at it like crazy. You know what I mean? Looking at it in a bad way. But everybody, I want to say a big thank you to everybody for being on. Thank you so much. You guys are all amazing. It does Vidanya. I appreciate all you guys for being on. Have a great one. I'll see you guys in the chat, okay? Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
So the thing is I do have to go into this last story. There is this last story that I wanted to show you guys. I said it here in the title. There is a 9-year-old by the name of Ezra Blount. He is still right now, as we speak, fighting for his life. He is in a coma right now because he was at the AstroWorld festival with his dad sitting on top of his dad's shoulders. And because his father passed out because of being squeezed during this stampede, the son fell to the ground and was trampled on. He is suffering severe brain damage, and he is in a coma right now. I do have this article I want to show you guys because, like I said, this is a piece that I wanted to talk about, and I'm not leaving until this story is told, because this young boy's story needs to be heard. He is 9 years old. Ezra Blount. Let's take a look at this article from the Daily Mail. Now, real quick, I see a bunch of y'all in here watching the show. Please send those likes past 1,000 likes. That would really mean a lot. You know what I'm saying? We have had quite the epic show, quite the epic conversation today. I appreciate everybody who's been on. Hit that like button. Send it past 1,000 likes right now, at least for this young boy. Show some love and support for this 9-year-old boy. And also, please do me this solid. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It would be really, really appreciated. Okay? And share this story. I will be taking this out as a standalone piece and putting it out online. Please share this story because this is a story that needs to be heard. We all need to have as much positive energy towards this young boy and all the other people's stories that are starting to come out. But this is the youngest that we have right now. 9-year-old Ezra Blount. So 9-year-old boy, Ezra Blount, who is sitting on his father's shoulders at the AstroWorld Festival, is in a medically induced coma after being injured in the fatal crowd surge. So Ezra Blount of Dallas, 9 years old, they drove from Dallas to be at this event, to be at this festival. He is now in a medically induced coma after he was trampled at the Travis Scott's deadly AstroWorld Festival on Friday. The boy's father, Tristan, passed out while holding the boy above the crowd. When he came to, his son had been admitted to the hospital as a John Doe. So somehow they were separated because he was holding him. Apparently he was resting on his shoulders. And because the crush was so bad, he passed out. And when he came to, he was separated from his son. That's how wild things were going. You had a 9-year-old boy in the wake of this chaos. And the chaos was so bad that boy was somewhere else. Through the wave of this craziness, the boy was moved away. Literally. And when he came to, he found out that boy, Ezra, was admitted as a John Doe. The boy was badly trampled, suffering from cardiac arrest, lung damage, and severe brain swelling. Whether he will survive is up in the air, y'all. Travis Scott said he will cover the funeral costs, like we talked about for the past few hours here, for the 8 victims during the violent crowd surge. All right, and of course, lawsuits are happening, lawsuits are ensuing, and all that. But I want you guys to see this young boy. This is Ezra. This is Ezra Blount. And right now, he is fighting for his life. I do have a video here that I want to show you guys as well, that goes into a little bit more detail about what's going on here. Because like I said, this is just heart-wrenching and a terrifying thought. A terrifying thought that you would just bring your child to go see somebody that he looks up to, and only to find out that he's going to be later on in a coma fighting for his life. But here's a video. I want you guys to see this. Let's take a look at this, shall we?
Difficult to tell. This 9-year-old, his name name is Ezra Blount, and he went to AstroWorld with his father looking to have a good time. I want to show you some photos that his father just sent to me here just a little while ago, showing him and his 9-year-old son at AstroWorld. That is Ezra Blount that you see there on the screen, a 9-year-old innocent boy who loves Travis Scott like his father. Now, these photos, as I mentioned, they were taken on Friday, just hours before what became a violent crowd surge during Travis Scott's performance. It was an exciting time for this father and his son. They came from Dallas for the show, and as I mentioned, loved Travis Scott. The child, he was on his father's shoulders, and he actually fell from his dad's shoulders. I want you guys to take a listen to how his grandfather described exactly what happened there as he had his son up there to protect him from the crowd surge.
And my son couldn't breathe because of all the pressure that was being applied to him, and he passed out. And when he passed out, Ezra fell into the crowd, and he was trampled really bad.
He has the cutest dimple. He loves to sing. He is so outgoing. He loves music, and he loves skateboards, and he's just a normal child. He was spending time with his dad, and he loves that.
Chauncey and Myra, how this ended for both this son and his father is absolutely tragic. His family also tells me that here at Texas Children's Hospital, he was listed as a John Doe because when his father passed out, when he regained consciousness, his son had already been taken to safety. So you can just imagine the panic that this family had. His father searching for his son in this crowd of people that were pushing people and trampling over people, not knowing that he was already here at the hospital. His son was severely hurt. His family tells me that all of his organs are damaged here. His brain has swelling that has progressively gotten worse over the day. So his full recovery will be a miracle for them, and they're clinging on to hope and prayer that little 9-year-old Ezra Blount does make a full recovery.
They went to the Travis Scott concert. My son had Ezra on his shoulders at the concert, and my son couldn't breathe because of all the pressure that was being applied to him. And
this is obviously just going to be repeating, but the thing that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around is that you have a young boy that is a huge fan of an artist, right? And maybe it's a thing where it's a father and son thing, right? It's that thing of like, wow, yeah, you like Travis Scott and I like Travis Scott. Let's do this father and son trip. You know what I mean? Let's go and have some fun. Let's go spend some time together, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and throw shade on any person that wants to bring their child to a concert. But there is that piece of me that's like, wow, this is a child that's going to one of the most chaotic and one of the most physically vibrant shows ever, right? And like I said, I'm not throwing any shade on the decision to go and see a show. Not at all. But I do wonder why one would want to take a child as young as 9 years old to something so okay. I keep wondering why someone would want to do that, right? Because it's a scary thought. Let's be real. It's a scary thought. Because you never know what you're going to get into when you get into it, right? When you get there. And it's a terrifying thought, right? Regardless of your decision, my thoughts and my prayers go out to this child so much. Because like I said, he is the youngest Before he was 10 years old, now we have this child, Ezra Blount, who's 9 years old, who's been trampled. Organs swelling, brain. He was trampled upon, stomped on, and now he is fighting for his life because there was no control inside that concert. You know, like I said, when I think of this, and if I was a father, I don't even know what I would do with myself right now. I mean, obviously, I'd be sitting right by my son's side, praying over him, and just hoping that my prayers and my good vibes and my good energy would heal him with the quickness. And so my thoughts and prayers go out to this kid because, like I said, this kid didn't deserve this. The father doesn't deserve this. No one who is a victim to this whole situation deserved any of this. I just really, truly wish that they really took better care of the audience when they walk through that gate. If there was more security, if there was more care, we wouldn't be in this conversation right now. We wouldn't be in this situation right now. But please, guys, you know, put that young boy in your prayers, because I'm sure there are going to be more and more names that are going to be coming out here very, very soon that are going to be a smattering of different ages. I mean, it's going to cover the whole range. But right now, we have a 9-year-old, the youngest so far, 9-year-old Ezra Blount right now fighting for his life. And they're saying the possibilities of him coming out of this coma is still up in the air. It's terrible. Anyway, guys, that is the show today. What an epic show. I'm not going to lie. I want to say a big thank you to every single last person that came onto this show today. Pocket Watcher with JT, Liliana Lopez for coming on and speaking her story, Murphy Lee for coming on and giving his perspective on being a performer. And of course, all of you that came on to do that panel discussion, that really does mean a lot. I know that I could have opened it up and we could have talked a lot longer, but unfortunately, today is not the day that I can go on for very long, unfortunately. Okay? So please, guys, before you guys leave, all right, you see, we're almost at 1K likes. If you can hit that like button down below before you take off, and send this past 1,000 likes, that would really mean the world to me, guys. That would really, really, really mean the world to me, okay? So hit that like button down below. Send them all the way up, all right? And of course, for those of y'all who haven't done this yet and are watching this show for the very first time, welcome to the Pascal Show. And please nuke, destroy, annihilate that subscribe button down below. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, I don't know why the internet is acting a damn fool now, but hopefully you guys have a wonderful one. It is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I will see you guys very, very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.